It's time for Mike Erie's show. He's ripping off Cullinane. He wants to find some fans to talk to, 'cause he's lonely on Saturdays. Mike was told to come up with something, and I guess this is what he did. We should give him some points for trying. Kirk wants to know what the point of this is. Just a warning for all you guys. You'll never get this hour back in your life. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you.
I'm here for my last show ever. Not because I'm going to quit, not because I'm going to ask to be fired, because I believe within the hour I will be dead. If you didn't watch on Twitter, go to @KirkMinShow, Periscope. We performed the McDonald's challenge. There's a lot of excuse me. There's a lot of debate as to I'm fucking in rough shape. Rough shape, baby, rough shape. There's a lot of debate as to who won, Steve or I. Steve quit at one point. I threw up. I think if you watch the tape, you'll see that both of us are true winners. And we really shined in the spotlight. One of the greatest things we ever did, really. I think people will talk about it for a long time to come. It's both controversial and captivating. And I think it's really going to have the streets abuzz come Monday. People are still going to be talking about this when they open up their newspapers. This is front page stuff. The McDonald's challenge. What a dud that was. Maybe the worst thing I've ever thought of. And there's a long list. So I think we've got a good show for you tonight, as I pretty much always say. Although, no, last week I said it was going to be a bad show. I was right. So usually I'm spot on about this stuff. Should be a good one. I think we're going to have more fun in the second half. But first, I'll address my parents. We're going to have Matt from Providence and Andy Mayo on. And for some reason, both them and Menners, when I have them on, I've found my problem is that I treat it like I'm going to the principal's office when I should be just fucking saying these are two assholes that listen to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I've finally seen the light, Andy Mayo. For Christ's sake, it's been. I
was hoping Andy was going to be in the tent.
It's been
the kids aren't asleep, so I don't need to be in the tent.
It's been a roller coaster week for me. It started with me blubbering that I want to be off the air. To now I'm finally having fun doing this again, which I think was the big problem, which we can get into. But I guess we'll start with Mayo's gripes. I know he's always got some gripes. He always comes with a list of complaints. Yeah. So let's just get that out of the way, and then maybe afterwards we'll have some fun.
What do you want me to be patronizing or a dick about it? I don't really know. I don't know how to do it.
I'm a sensitive boy, Andy. I'd like you to keep that in mind. No, do whatever you want. I don't care.
All right, first, Mike, I'll preface it because I'm a wimp like this. I'll preface it. I'm a
great
blind
guy. Yes,
I'm a blind Mike guy.
I'm a nice guy. Yeah.
But you're not only a nice guy. I'm a fan of yours. I've been a fan of yours since Trash Talk, when you were the only person talking about Kirk. You're living the dream, man. It's awesome to see you do this. You made it happen by working for free and busting your ass, all that stuff. But I go a little bit crazy, and I get curious when, like, so it would have been, I think, last week on Friday when Kirk says who's on Mike and the Minifans this week, and you didn't even have the lineup. I don't understand
why you had a problem with that.
Why? So let me ask you why you don't have a problem, or why you don't see what the issue is with that.
So most weeks, and I think Matt can attest to this because usually I've got him in some sort of a group message. Many weeks I set it up on maybe Monday or Tuesday. The last few weeks, especially, I've been waiting for stuff to happen. Like the Dee Lauren thing didn't happen till Thursday or whatever. So I try to wait till later in the week. That particular week, last week, there was fucking nothing going on, really. And then when we talked about it on that show, I was like, yeah, I really don't know, but I had certain people in mind. And if I must report to Andy Mayo,
yes,
that it's roughly a 6-minute drive from the studio to my house. I had it completely booked before I got home. So it's not like I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And sometimes on weeks that it's been fully prepared, sometimes I add and drop people an hour before the show.
I have noticed that on slower weeks, it tends to get filled later in the week. I mean,
that's just what it is. If some fight comes up, I'm going to want some people, and I don't want to kick people out because it's not the greatest thing in the world to come do this show, but I know some people enjoy it, so that's why.
And then people get really pissed off when they get bumped and talk a lot of shit on Twitter.
For example, there's a kid, PK something. He was on once.
Yeah, he was in Puerto Rico.
He was in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
He
goes to PC.
Oh, I thought he died in Puerto Rico. That's good.
No, he's still with us.
No, he called into the show the other day.
Yes.
You guys, like, Kirk had no clue who he was, obviously. But
so he's wanted to be on a couple times, and it's just been that, like, this week I didn't want him on with you guys because I didn't think he would get a word in edgewise, really. And there's 3 people on the second half, so I didn't want him on with that. So, but if there was no one that, like, if you guys couldn't do it or something, I would have had him on.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of the second half, I understand there's a lot of people pissed off that Phil's not on tonight.
Oh,
I don't know. I have no idea why. I've just seen a little bit of chatter on Twitter.
I'll tell you, the only reason is because there's 3 people. I didn't want a 4th, really.
Yeah.
But Elvin, I wanted Elvin on, and I thought the other 2 guys would be fun with that. I don't really know. Phil's welcome on anytime. I should say, Phil, DM Justin right now. You can hop on this half if you want.
Yeah, I have no idea what was going on. I just saw a lot of chatter that he was, like, him and some of his followers were upset. The Philifans.
Phil called
the Philanderers.
Yeah.
The Philanderers.
Oh, Jesus.
I was one of the people saying Phil was pissed. I was just saying it to say it because I saw that chatter.
Okay.
That's weird. That's weird of you to do, Andy. I've never known you to be like that.
I don't know if he's really mad.
I like that guy. He's fun. I've noticed when he called this show and when he called, I think, Kirk's show, maybe? I forget. But he was more talkative and funnier on those shows than when on his show. You can never fucking hear him. But no, I like that guy. He's good.
Mike, do you think there's more you could do for Mike and the Minifans? Do you think you're putting in an adequate effort into the show?
Yeah, there's a lot of this too, where I think people want me to come up. People say there's no direction for the show. There aren't enough. The Mincel Intel guys are coming up with more segments, which is great. They do a great job with that show. But the point of this show, people forget, was to hang out with one of the guys from the show. Not that people want to hang out with me, but that's just what it is. On a Saturday night and shoot the shit about the show or whatever. If we want to get into other topics, we can for maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, however the fuck long. It's become this thing where now people feel the need to dissect it. And it's been the same with my psyche. And that's my fault for allowing it. But it's been this thing where now we have to get into what is the meaning behind Mike only doing an hour show tonight? I'm not that fascinating a guy, if I can tell you. It's really not. Once you get deep in here, there's not a lot going on. So it's not that why did Mike only do an hour and 50? Why did Mike have 5 people on? Why didn't he split it up? It's not that interesting. Sometimes I just want to try other things. I wanted to try 5 people on at once and maybe take some calls. And people were like, oh, it's a fucking disaster. It was a disaster because the phones didn't work, because you couldn't hear us at the same time. If it worked perfectly, and you could hear everyone, it would have been fine.
Yeah, and I mean, Mike, I've probably been on the show, maybe 10 times now. And
there may be only 3 or 4 episodes you haven't been.
And aside from one episode early on, Mayo, when we were on together and you blasted off like 15 topics of discussion, I don't think I've ever really engaged in like a topic of what are we getting into tonight. It's kind of just understood whatever happened this week on the show, we're going to go over it, we're going to pick it apart, and we're probably going to agree about it most of the time.
Yeah, the only time
I think people might benefit though from having at least some from some guidance from Mike to say, "Hey guys, here's 5 or 10 things that I want us all to get into."
I'll coach you next time, Andy. I'll give you
not coaching, but just so then people know. Okay, let me spend a little bit of time.
Only time people have asked. The only time I send a list of topics, and maybe I should do that more. It makes sense, but I also kind of think the people on this show, we'll put it this way. We're never getting into the headlines in the Washington Post that day.
Yeah,
I'm talking
I think you've
got a pretty much a good idea of what we're going to be talking about. I send topics when Matt Carano is on because he specifically requests them. And that's not even a shot at Matt. He just happens to do that. So if people say like, hey, what are we talking about? I'll say, oh, well, we'll get into this, and this. But there's kind of an understanding that we're going to talk about that week in the Kirk Minahan Show world. Now, the problem with that is it's now become, and I understand this was originally ripping off Dave Cullinane, which was ripping off DEC. So there's 10 levels of that. But the problem with this show now in general is there's the Lady Minifans, there's fucking nickels worth of free advice, there's the Mincel Intel, there's the Intern Show, and there's the OG Minifan Show, and there's the Australian Minifan Show.
And there's some more in the works.
The premise of all of those shows are what happened the last week in the Kirk Minahan Show world.
A lot of overlap.
So it's a little tough to have original ideas. Now, maybe I should come up with something new for this show, but I still like doing this. And I think the difference is you're doing it with someone from the show. So hopefully I can give a little more insight. But I still enjoy it. And if people don't, they can fuck off and not watch.
And now, Mike, I know at one point wasn't the idea for the YouTube kind of to also involve some shows that weren't necessarily about the Kirk Minifans
and that's what
show.
Quantum Week is. And so that's kind of what I did with DEC the other night, which again probably bored a lot of people, but I enjoyed doing it. I've got a thing where I want to start kind of a show centered around comedy. And I have some ideas for it. I've been waiting because Shane Gillis said he'd be my first guest, and he's kind of dragging his feet here, so which he's done a couple times now. So we'll see. And if not, I'll just do it this week or next week. But yeah, so there's some ideas like that. That's what I would prefer more, and that's why I like Elvin's idea. The problem you get into there is then you get Super Lemon Haze, which I have no fucking idea why he's on YouTube. I think Kirk just thought it would be funny because there was an argument about it, but there's no. Other than the fact that guy's a fan of the show, it doesn't make any sense. It would be like if Joel Osteen happened to be a fan of the Kirk Minifans show and got a YouTube. It doesn't make any sense to me for that guy to have a show on the channel. But if people like it, then who gives a fuck?
And I mean, yeah, it's probably a very niche part of the fan base that would be interested in it. But I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to have it on there. It's not, I'm sure they're not saying anything outlandish that's going to get you guys in trouble. So. And really, in all reality, what can it hurt?
Yeah, and if they do, we'll just delete it and pretend it never happened. Am I right, Elvin? I'll get to you later, buddy.
So, Mike, all right, here's another thought that crossed my mind, though, is Mike and the Minifans, correct me if I'm wrong, was born of the episode where you were told to do more, right?
I guess that's
my recollection of it.
That's kind of why it started. It's something I kind of thought would be a good idea before that, but yeah, basically.
Do you think Kirk is happy with it? Do you think he considers this that as having done more? Because I would sometimes wonder if Kirk looks at it and thinks, so Mike set up a format that's a cool hang, which means by the very nature of it, there's not a lot of prep he has to do. You just have to roll in and
yeah, I mean, I do other shows too, and I try to do stuff for Instagram and social. I just ate fucking 6,000 calories. Here's the thing: is that's just the way I like doing radio, podcasting, whatever you want to call it. Maybe that comes off as lazy. I genuinely, and I've said this before, I really don't think I'm lazy. Maybe uncreative or unfunny or whatever other label you want to put on, maybe that's fine, but I'm not lazy. Like the amount of attention I put into the show, I feel is at a maximum. I think I'm on my phone all day looking for stories. I know they say I'm uninformed. I think if there's a story I miss, there's nothing I can do about that, really. I can't see something I don't know exists, I guess. So
you just sacrificed your bowels for the next 24 hours. So
right, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. And then when we come up with, when Kirk comes up with the idea that we had Thursday, I'll start firing away. So maybe it's more that I'm not creative, but when I can add a lot to an idea, and that's probably a criticism of mine, which I do need to work on. But I think the issue I have, and when I get maybe too sensitive, is when I'm called lazy, because I don't think that's the case.
I don't think you're lazy, but I can understand the perception, because I think people do see things like the hang model, and they think, that means you don't have to put much into it.
My problem is I get annoyed by it. I'm like, why would they think that?
People are in your head,
they don't know me. They're just going to know what they hear on the show or what they hear on this show, whatever. They don't have any idea who I am. So I shouldn't get so, when Menners says something about me, I shouldn't be like, well, who the fuck is he to say? He's just a person that listens to the show. He has every right to say that.
But now we know that Menners has his nipple pierced, so you can hold that in your back pocket.
We know Menners is as sensitive as anyone. Jesus Christ.
Freaky little guy.
We're all sensitive, right?
Before we get to Menners, any other gripes, Mayo?
Well, I guess so.
Or have I answered? Have I not answered your gripes?
No, you've answered them. Do you think Kirk is a good boss? And I'm not saying good boss. Like, I know Kirk cares about you.
Yeah,
but
no, I think he's a real. Hey, I know he doesn't listen to the show. I think he's a real piece of shit. He's a real hunk of shit.
I'm not asking.
What do you think I'm going to say to this?
No, but all right. Let me. So
no, go for it.
When I say things like, "Do you think Kirk is happy with Mike and the Minifans?" You don't really seem to have an answer. So
I don't know. I don't know if he's.
So
happy
does he ever sit you down and has he ever sat you down and explain to you what your role is? Because I find you often also say like, well, I'm not sure if it's my job to do this, or I'm not sure if I should do that. But
no, we've never had a
he
sit down one-on-one conversation. But I think it's more that I should be coming up with that stuff and doing it on my. I think that is my job, is to come up with stuff. I don't know if he's happy with it or not.
I think you still need feedback from the boss, because at the end of the day, the only person who needs to be happy with Blind Mike is Kirk Minahan, right?
I mean, he does get feedback.
I would say he gives me feedback on the air.
Yeah, he passive aggressively, or sometimes very aggressively, shits on the shows.
Sometimes, and sometimes he says, "Hey, good job,
Mike." You were ready to quit this week because you weren't sure whether they want you on the show or not.
Yeah.
The fact that you're not sure if your boss wants you to have the job anymore, to me, is a sign that your boss isn't communicating with you the way he should be. And I know it's weird to talk about this because it's Kirk Minahan, the broadcaster, but as Kirk has said too, he's also now Kirk Minahan running a small business. And I think I think he has told me in the Discord he doesn't think you need a mentor in him.
Right.
But when I look at you in your situation,
I wasn't.
But you do.
This is not a mentorship program.
But I think you do, and I think he kind of has, maybe it's asking him to be someone he just isn't that type of person. But I think you would benefit from it, and I think that at the very least, I would have thought Kirk would have sat you down at the beginning and said, "Mike, here's the role I want you to have on the show. When I told you to go out and do more, here's what I want." Or
so that never happened. But I get
it kind of did though on the show,
right.
Bringing you in,
that's what I'm
letting
getting
it happen organically.
That's what I'm getting to, is that, and Kirk said this during the show on Tuesday, when after I had texted him that, I had felt that way for a month or 2 months or however long it's been, and it's something that got to me. It kept eating away at me. My problem is I never sat back and realized what I did was I was taking throwaway lines on the show by those guys and comments on Twitter, which is the worst part. I was seeing things from you, Andy, or Menners, or whoever else on Twitter saying, "Oh, Kirk is unhappy with this," or "This is what Kirk thinks," or "This line that Kirk says, here's what he really meant by that." I was reading those and for some reason trusting them.
But
you see what I'm saying? Like I was looking at that as, oh, this is true because Andy Mayo said it on fucking Twitter. That was my biggest problem. That was my biggest problem.
You should know more than Andy Mayo. You should have more insight into how Kirk thinks of you than Andy Mayo.
That's what I'm saying.
So my problem
some of that is on Kirk.
So my problem was that I was reading stuff and I was letting it fucking get to me. And the problem I had for 2 months was not that I don't know what my role is. It's that I was going in every day nervous and thinking, am I about to get fired? Do they not think I'm funny? Do they mean this when they say this? What am I? Whereas the first 8 months of the show, or however long it's been, I was having fun. I was going in every day and having fun. So what I've gotten to a point now, and this is thanks to the therapy that Matt says I go fake. That's fake that I go to.
I said that.
Oh yes, at one time.
You said I think you said it was he used it.
It was a big a big hoax. Mike,
Mike had a jail card.
Mike is a case of the
you used it as a cop out. Well, I didn't think you were actually gonna go. I thought you were just kind of
It's been very helpful to me, and part of that is that I've kind of realized the problem is me thinking that, not that it's happening. So I've gotten to a place. I mean, it's been 3 days, but I've gotten to a place where now I'm saying to myself, go in and have fun. And then if you go in and have fun and they don't like you, then there's nothing you can do about it, because that's what you should be. That's what you should be doing. So if you go in and do what you should be doing, then you can't do anything else. They're just not going to like you, and eventually they're going to get rid of you. So I shouldn't be saying, well, if you really want to fire me, then just please do it. What I should be doing is doing my best every day, and then if that sucks at a certain point, they're just going to get rid of me.
Exactly. See, I would hope that instead of just getting rid of you, if it sucks along the way, that at some point Kirk would take you aside and say, "Mike, here's where I see you lacking. Here's what I think you can improve on."
Yeah, but I think he does say that in his own way.
Yeah, in his own way. But I'm saying
in front of everybody.
Yep. That's Kirk the personality. I'm talking Kirk, the guy in charge of the whole thing now.
Yeah, and then my other problem, which I've thought a lot about, is that I come here and I treated it like, and I said this at the beginning of the show, but I treated it like I'm going into the boss's office. Like I'm going in for a scolding with the Minifans. Where I should be saying, hey, fuck you guys. I'm the guy in the chair. You aren't. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be reading things on Twitter and saying, this guy says he can do my job. Well, I do my job and they don't.
I think Andy is trying a little too hard to separate Kirk the personality from Kirk like the boss and Kirk the man, because
Well, this is all a
I think
conversation he wants to be having
Kirk's
with Kirk, not
as
me.
real
I just happen
as
to
you're
be
going to
here.
find. Yeah, I mean, Kirk is the realest person you're going to find who's going to go on there and tell you exactly what's going on in the real world. I mean, sure, he must be a little different outside of the show, but I can't imagine it's drastic enough to the point where you'd say he's a different person.
Well, no, I think there's little things where you just know you're going to have more of a conversation on the show, because I think that's how Kirk likes to do it. Like you saw yesterday when Steve said at the end of the show, when Steve said, "Hey, can you delete that tweet?" And we had the whole thing about Kirk tweeting it again and Steve tweeting the GIF and all that stuff, and it turned out to be very funny.
Yeah,
but what happened from that conversation is there was a resolution. Whereas if it was off air, then it would have been this uncomfortable, like, do I really have to? I don't know exactly what that conversation would have been between them, but it wouldn't have provided as much content as it did, and it just would have been, a fart in the wind. It would have been gone. Whereas that turned into A, funny content, and B, there was a resolution. Steve tweeted something, and then the people from some company were fine with it.
So, Mike, you're probably right. Like, I would love to talk to Kirk about this because it's such a unique situation. And even he went after, in the episode where he had to punish Steve, he said a few things where he talked about himself as a leader. And he even said, like, I'm running a small business now, and that's new to him. So he's thinking about this stuff too. And I would be fascinated to hear him expand on it, because you're right, Matt. It is tough to separate Kirk, the guy on the show, from Kirk, the guy in charge, but he is both those guys now. And one might not be able to always operate like the other. So yeah, I would love to hear Kirk talk about that at some point. And I'd be interested to hear what he's, kind of self-reflection he's done now that he's in this position where he's actually in charge of employees.
Well, so the strange thing too with me is I am still learning. Like, I've never worked in radio other than fucking handing out koozies at bar events. So I've never really worked in radio. This is my first job in that field, really. So I am learning, but it's also not, I didn't enter a mentorship program where someone's going to say, "Hey kids, here's here are the 10 rules of radio that you have to know." I have to learn on the fly, and that's kind of my job. I think if you wanted someone that needs to be sat down and take notes and go through all the lessons, then he would have hired someone else,
Yeah, I'm not talking a formal program. I'm just talking like,
no. But what I'm saying is, it's a job. It's a job, not an internship. No,
but every job, mentorship is still an important part of every job. But so the last thing I'll say on it, Mike, is, and you're going to tell me this is fucking crazy and not to do it, but I've already got the Mincel Intel guys ready to do their grassroots social media thing to make it happen.
Already rolling. I didn't realize the Mincel Intel guys were involved.
I think you should ask Big Cat to just talk to you once a month.
I don't know who that is, and I'm.
Yeah.
Wide dog.
Really can't.
Wide dog.
So you should maybe find somebody in the same industry as you who has demonstrated in the past that they would talk to you about this stuff and that they seem to be interested in how you're doing, and that maybe you could have these conversations with that Kirk just might not be willing to have with you.
I would say some people have been helpful in that way, but also some people are one of the biggest podcasters in the world and have other things to do too.
I know, but
the problem is not everyone has enough time to fucking sit me on their lap and say, "All right, Mikey, here's how things are done in showbiz."
It's not that. It's just
something I've got to learn, and I think I am learning. I think just what I'm saying
part of learning it is reaching out to people who know a lot more about it and getting them to talk to you and give you insight.
Yeah, maybe. But also I think what I'm saying here is me learning. Like shit I'm saying right now, I'm happy with, because I wouldn't have said it a week ago. There are things I realized in the last week that make me feel better.
I think you're saying the right stuff.
If we listen to other podcasts out there, I think even though, Mike's contributions are obviously lesser to the show than Kirk's are, Mike still does a better job podcasting than 90% of the people out there, you know what I mean, as the sidekick. So like, even though maybe people might be critical of how he stands up next to Kirk, that doesn't necessarily mean against the field he's doing that bad.
I don't. Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, one here's a geary gripe for you, Mayo.
Sure.
Was I'm listening to this fucking Minifan show, and old Andy says, first of all, I love concerned Andy Mayo, where he's like, geez, I just can't help but wonder. I just can't help but think that prank call was another failure of Mike's. What the fuck did you think it was supposed to be?
Yeah, so I know everybody says it's so bad it's good. I thought it was just
Andy.
Bad.
I don't know if you heard the outtakes of
I did.
So Kirk says to us on there, and he said this the day before too, don't make it an over-the-top parody where you're making fun of bad radio. We want people to think this is our job. Like, we come here every day and try to do our best. So essentially what I did there is mocked complete. There's a guy named Todd Pettingale, Scott and Todd, that a lot of radio shows made fun of back in the day. And he did these prank calls. He did them every day, every single day.
He used to be in WWF?
Yeah, he did some WWF stuff.
He hosted Livewire Saturday mornings, Todd Pettingale.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And he would make parody songs every single day, and he would make prank phone calls every single day. And essentially, what I wanted to do with that prank call was exactly that, but 11 minutes long. But I just didn't have the stamina. Because what those Todd Pettingale calls were is, they were a ripoff of the Jerky Boys, which is that fake voice I was doing there. And he does a bad voice, has a goofy name, and there are no jokes. It's just him confronting someone uncomfortably, and it lasts way too long. And the person on the other end would never stay on for that long. And that's what I did, where it's not horrendous. It's not so bad it's funny, and it's not good. It just fucking sits there. And to be fair to you,
went over my head. Yeah.
To be fair to you, I don't know if Kirk and Steve understood that either. I think they also thought that maybe I was trying to be funny or something.
But that's the risk you guys take with these weird high concept things. Some people like me, I guess I didn't get it. So then I come across and say, well, you guys sucked. And then it's like, no, you don't get it, man. You don't know what we were going for. Yeah. But I would rather, like, even if I didn't really care for that episode, but I love that you guys went for it. And I would never say I wish they hadn't done that, even though it wasn't my favorite thing and I didn't really like it. I'm so glad you guys did it, because I like that. I think it's Kirk taking full advantage of the creative control he has. Yeah, so I wouldn't, as a fan, ever say I wish they hadn't done that. It's awesome that you guys did it.
What were you gonna say?
I definitely labored through it, but it had its moments. And Mike, as far as your prank phone call, it was very reminiscent to me of was it the show out of Boston, the Ramiro and Pebbles show? They used to do the same prank calls. I used to listen to that station when I was younger and like a young teen, and
or they would always do
the same thing.
Maybe there was a guy named Baltazar with Pebbles before Ramiro.
You talking Jam Scams?
And he was
Jam Scams.
Yeah.
Scams. Yes.
Yeah.
I used to always listen to those and wonder if they were real, and now to
I know
KMS, I know they're fake.
Yeah, real bad.
And that was always this long thing where you're listening to it and you're like, even if you wanted to make fun of it, you're listening to it and you're like, what? This is just tedious. This is not hilariously bad. It's not funny. There are no jokes. I don't understand what he's even doing. So that's what I was going for, I guess. I'm sorry I disappointed you so much, Andy.
Hey, I mean,
I don't care.
Who gives a shit, right? Who cares?
Right. Any other? Have we gotten through your list of gripes? I'm enjoying this.
We could never get through the list.
Okay, go ahead.
I think no. I think that's adequate. All right. The big thing to me was just the Kirk stuff, and I don't know. I guess maybe I misread the first day. I was kind of like, wow, Kirk seemed like he did not fight for Mike, and maybe
I don't agree with that either. He only,
I know. Yeah,
in fact, he called me and said, "Boy, are you fucking lucky? Like you owe me," or something. I forget exactly what he said, but something to that effect. Where, I think he 100% saved my job at whatever company I work for. I don't know what it's called.
I think I misread it.
It's a weird situation that I'm in now too. But.
Somebody from the show. Not on this show right now, and not on some toilet dying right now somewhere else. Someone from the show might have reached out to me and not so subtly set me straight on that. So I think I was expecting Kirk, classic Kirk, like fire and brimstone, drawing the line in the sand. Fuck them, we'd be out of here if they did that, and that probably wouldn't have been the right response this time.
No, and I don't.
But it's what I was looking for. So I
would say the fact that I'm here a week later would tell you that it certainly would have been the right response.
Yeah.
Mike, while I agree that you're getting screwed over in this whole situation, that text to Kirk the following day was just.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying a few minutes ago. Is that it was, and I'll still say the intention was never. Whatever they say, well, that's where I get frustrated. Is sometimes I feel like. if I'm honest about how I'm feeling, then it comes off as woe is me. And if I'm not, then I'm not being real. I'm being phony. That's how I feel anyways.
Well, I feel like you hit a point where like the tone of your voice changes a little bit. And it's like, I think that's the defensive mic that people talk about.
Yeah.
Where you just get a little, it's like, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and you're like, oh, okay, I got to respond to this. And it just comes off as a little, I don't know, like you are getting a little defensive, to be honest.
I can understand that. And I can also understand why it comes off as, hey, will you tell me I'm great? Or will you tell me you like me or whatever the fuck it is? It's not my intention, and it wasn't at the time. But like I said, I after that, I think that show, the next day when we talked it out, and I think that's, Kirk points this out all the time, that's what's good about the show, is a lot of guys do 20 years of radio together, silently resenting each other. Whereas, we resent each other, but it's all on air. So the next day we hashed it all out, and that made me feel better. And the more I thought about it, I was kind of like, why am I coming in here acting every day like, geez, I hope they don't think I'm not funny, or I hope they don't think I'm boring or unprepared. Like, I came in every day nervous that there was going to be a topic brought up that I hadn't heard of yet, or like, oh no. Whereas if I just come in and have fun, that's what I was doing before, and I think I was doing a good job of.
Well, that explains it, because I noticed that kind of there was something off about you for a while there, and it did seem I don't know, I guess regressive is the word, where I thought you'd been getting better and better, and then you started kind of dipping. But I think you're describing that period of, you said the past couple months you've been feeling that way.
Hopefully, I'm coming back, baby.
Yeah. Well, fuck us, Mike. Don't let the fans get in your head, which is very easy to say for me, because I really can't imagine being in you guys' shoes, because even some of us fans, when you step into like a shitstorm and a lot of people are giving you crap on Twitter, like,
yeah, well, you don't.
Always
The
makes
thing
me
is,
think, I don't know how you guys live with it. I don't know how you live with it at the level that you guys have it.
You don't realize you're doing it sometimes. Like, that's always my. When I was in your shoes, Andy, when I would listen to, be a super fan of radio shows and talk about them, or go on Reddit and talk about them or whatever, I would say, why is this guy so sensitive, or why is he reading Twitter and taking it seriously? There are some people that like him, there are some people that hate him. You just got to accept that. I would say that shit, and you kind of get to the point where you don't realize you're doing it. It's just you're reading things and taking them seriously, and then if you take a step back, or if someone's critical of you and opens your eyes to it, then you say, oh shit, that's exactly what I'm doing. You just don't necessarily realize it all the time. That's what I needed, is someone to point it out to me, I guess. But so the thing I wanted to get to, now that we're done with my bullshit, it's always so fascinating when we get into my psyche, isn't it, folks?
I find it interesting.
Well, thank you. So the Thursday show, neither of you liked it, it sounds like.
I mean, I appreciated the dedication to the parody. I mean, just hearing the outtakes, it sounded pretty difficult, keeping the storyline straight.
At first, for sure. The first,
but it just,
I think the only retakes were the first
radio.
Yeah. Well,
it was a dead on, which is why I respect it. You guys nailed it, but it, it's tough to listen to. That's why we make fun of it the way we do.
We'll see where Kirk is. I don't know if it's good on the fly or if he prepared that beforehand, but where he was smart is, my thinking of it was to just do it completely straight. And ideally, what would have happened is we did it on a Friday, not a Thursday, and never mention it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that'd be funny.
I thought that would have been very funny as well. But where Kirk is smart, and again, I don't know if it was on the fly or if he knew going in that he was going to do this, but all of a sudden when we're fighting about Steve's ex-girlfriend and him punching the groom at the altar, it's this thing where what he was doing was showing that these guys secretly hate each other off, but never bring it on air, which is very funny. But it also gave us room to kind of do what we normally do, because I think we would have just hung ourselves if we did straight. Now here's Taylor Swift coming up after this. I think that would have been A, too much, and B, people would have had an even tougher time listening to it, especially if they didn't like that.
Yeah, because everything was pre-recorded, right? All of the pranks, all of the phone calls, that was all pre-recorded.
Not the trivia thing that he was on the line.
The trivia, okay.
So like we were actually talking to him. Everything else was the prank call I did here. the phone calls were other people that like Steve just had pre-recorded drops.
I knew
which
there was
very
a lot
funny.
of speculation on Twitter about who played certain parts. Were there any big names throughout there? I think I might have heard Big Cat at one point.
If you guess anyone correctly, I'll tell you.
I thought I heard Big Cat at one point.
I don't know who that is, so I can't tell
Okay.
you.
Okay.
You really got to stick with that, huh?
I don't know. I mean, I said the fucking name 5 minutes ago, so I don't know what I can get. That's weird. But
I was glad to hear Steve say Friday. Steve was like, I sucked. Because that's kind of how part of me felt like I get this concept, and I was like, but these aren't necessarily
but I don't
guys.
think he did.
But at the beginning, it was tough. It sounded like three guys improving for 90 minutes who aren't necessarily improvers. Like, I know you guys improv, like you talk about things off the cuff, but I'm talking like Quantum Week Chris improv comedy.
Yeah, that was
Steve sounded forced, but Mike, you actually sounded pretty smooth.
That's what I was meant to do.
Believable.
I was meant to be on a morning zoo guy, the wacky guy on a morning zoo radio show. But it was. I'll tell you what was tough for me was when, like, all of a sudden I'm gay, and I have to talk about my husband and all that. Like, because those aren't things we knew going in. So it was very funny to have to react to that shit. But yeah, it was tough because I don't think I'm a good. It's funny. Steve said he was bad because I thought both of those guys did a great job. Not knowing what that conversation was, but going with it. The reason I kind of resorted to being the whole and saying like, "Oh, guys, come on," is because I didn't know what else to do really, because they were both going at it so well. So I said, "Well, that on a morning radio show, the natural thing would be for someone to separate this and not want the controversy."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
there's always the wet blanket.
Yeah.
I kind of thought at the beginning. And I guess this would have taken more planning, and I don't know if maybe it's something you guys would do in the future, but I thought at the very beginning, you guys were talking about, I think it was your character getting pulled over for DUI and yelling at the cops. And in that moment, I thought what you guys were going to do the whole episode was reveal all the dirty laundry that you know about prominent media members that your audience is aware of. Like in that case, I was like, are they?
So you thought it was way deeper than it was?
Yeah, I was like, are they telling us that Mutt flipped out on the cops when he got arrested? And I was like, oh my God, are they going to let out all the secrets without actually?
Yeah,
I was really interested in that, but then it became apparent that
would have been very funny. But
that's what I thought was happening at first.
There was a point where Kirk was like, "Oh, I own 3 restaurants, right? Is it 3 restaurants?" And I was like, "Okay, so is he trying to do like a Greg Hill parody at this moment?" And it's like that's his frame of mind. And I was like, "Oh, is Mike like a reamer? Are they turning it into like what?" I think everyone was trying to relate it back to, "Oh, is he calling out certain characters from EEI?"
Yeah, no, I don't think there was. I mean, there was some of that. There were obviously references to people in media at times. Like, I think you guys, I heard you on the Minifans show asking if he was doing Jerry the whole time, if Kirk was basically impersonating Jerry the whole time. You'd have to ask him. My take on it was just in that moment when he started saying, I forget exactly what he said, but something about, just sticking around, even though like I'm a fake tough guy or something. I forget exactly what he said. And then I think just in that moment he was Jerry. And then I went into, well, you didn't fight with me with the bosses and stuff. So I think there were just brief moments where, and when you said the restaurants, he was referencing maybe Greg Hill. Again, you'd have to ask him, but I assume. So I think it was just moments. I don't think the entire time was necessarily any one of us being one particular person.
The only thing I'm sure of is that he referred to himself as a guy named Lenny. That's the only thing I'm sure of. Yeah,
I know he
like,
said.
Oh, yeah, he went off and did his own thing. I don't know, some little podcast or something, and must be doing okay. Yeah, he referred to himself.
I see what you mean. Because I know you referred to Lenny. I thought you meant he made a mistake and referred to himself.
Oh, no,
this is Captain Lenny
like,
or something.
Lenny was Kirk Minahan.
I got you.
Like a pseudonym for Kirk.
But Lenny was also Jerry, I think, because Jerry was sitting in my seat. Remember, he said, he was sitting in your seat before, and we argued more. But that's fine. Like, so I don't know.
It's one of those episodes that will be discussed for decades as to what the true meaning was.
And there's a lot of moments. There's a lot of moments that are probably deeper than you realize, and there's a lot that you're putting too much thought into.
Mm-hmm.
As there always is that type of shit. I would imagine.
Mike, can I hit you with one more gripe?
Please.
I have never ever said anything to you in a DM along the lines of, oh, I guess I'll just go fuck myself when you don't respond to me.
That's the
You
tone.
son of a
though.
bitch.
That's the tone.
No, that's your interpretation of it.
Yeah. The,
That's not the tone. And
the
then
tone
I DM'd you and Steve. Neither of you wrote back recently because the Minifans have had a hot Frozen versus Frozen 2 debate, and I thought it'd be a funny YouTube show. And neither of you wrote back, so I haven't checked in with you because I'm like, well, they apparently don't want me checking in with them when they go radio silent.
Can I just say, when I saw that debate, I decided I had to watch them to know what you were talking about. In Frozen, the first like 15 minutes is the darkest movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, little kids are supposed to watch this. People are dying.
well, that's
it
like
was
is that a Disney
horrific.
movie?
Yeah, that shot of
Yeah.
her against the door as a little girl and the whole room's frozen around. Yeah, it's
Well, if you
It's
watch-
very dark.
This has been said a million times, but if you watch like Lion King or Bambi or any of that shit, it's all very parents dying and
yeah.
Yeah.
like they say. I watched The Lion King with my girlfriend a couple weeks ago, the new one, but still, even in that one, they say like Scar says like kill him, and it's like that's his fucking nephew in a children's movie. So yeah,
Fucked up.
Disney shit is dark.
Yeah, my
But no,
3-year-old
And
no,
they
I'm
had
fine,
all
Mike.
the dicks in the covers of the movies and stuff. So Disney was a little weird.
Yeah, but to answer your question, Andy, what I would say is you're talking to a guy who in high school would try and try and talk to girls out of his league, shall we say? And then my go-to move, which made me fail every time, was when I didn't get a response, I'd be like, "Well, I guess I'm a fucking loser, huh? I guess. Oh, you must not have seen this, huh?"
Mike,
So
would
I
you ever,
know
as a
smell a
teen,
fucking desperate asshole from a mile away, Andy.
as a teen, would you ever use your blindness to like accidentally grab a tit?
No, people have
Never?
asked me that before. No, I've never raped anyone, Matt. If that's your question.
I've got a similar. Do you mind questions about your vision like that?
No.
Can I-
Yes,
okay,
Andy,
so-
I'm very, yes.
well, I don't know.
Blind Mike is very sensitive about that.
I'm trying to be sensitive about it. One thing I've always wondered is, compared to your friends who have full vision, do you have a different set of standards for attractiveness in women than your friends because you don't see as well? I honestly wonder that.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume, but I guess I don't know really.
Okay.
No, I mean, all the women I've talked to, I've never gotten a response of like, Jesus, really? Of the women I find attractive. So
Okay.
I don't think so.
You still 6 times a week?
No, not in this, not in this
Slow
climate,
down.
Andy. No, we just have to see each other every fucking. She just watched me eat 7,000 calories. So the answer is a resounding no.
The answer is she's packing a suitcase right now.
She left. She's gone. She's not here anymore.
I'm surprised you haven't got up to run to the bathroom yet.
As am I on it. I'll tell you, my girlfriend did give me some tea. I don't know what it's called, but some sort of tea that supposedly helps with your digestive system. So I'm a little stunned I haven't been running back and forth. But
Oh, I think you won.
the iron
too, Mike.
bladder. What's
I
that,
think
Andy?
you want if you ate more than Steve, I don't think puking should disqualify you. I think if you puke, you stop eating, you're not allowed to continue, and then at that point your tally is added up for the amount of food you ate. The other guy could keep going, and then if he exceeds the amount of food you ate, he wins. But I think you won. If you at the end of the day ate more
Yeah.
than Steve did, I
No,
think you won.
But I honestly think I
did
could
I eat
crush
more than
both-
Steve though? The
Yeah.
problem is the conversion rate is tough.
Well, no, that works in your favor. If they're equating 6 nuggets to 1 burger, he only ate a burger and a half more than you, and you ate 20
I ate
20
30
more nuggets than him.
yeah. 30,
You ate 30,
31,
he
32.
ate 5. So you ate 25. That's equivalent to 4 burgers.
All right, then maybe I won. Hey,
So-
this is all good fodder for Monday.
What's your prize besides cramping?
Well, we
and
pointed that
vomiting?
out at the beginning. Is that neither of we both? I guess I won being the McDonald's Challenge champion. And that's
Okay.
a
I can
prize.
confidently say I would crush both of what you guys did
Well, do
See?
it then.
You got
tough guy.
you got a thing now. Do it.
Yeah.
So go.
tomorrow.
I had
Tomorrow
to skip
afternoon, I'll
ahead.
do it.
It'd be great.
Hey Matt,
if,
are you? Wait, have you responded to several of us who have said we don't want you on this show every week?
I don't
Well,
know.
that's-
A lot of
what a
people tell me
segue,
they don't want
Andy.
me on this show.
What, a
What do you
segue,
think?
Andy. So
Both of you. I'd be curious what both of you think. And Matt, I don't know if you've heard me say, I think you're very good. I think you're awesome on it. Everyone says, oh, Mayo, you're just saying that because you would want to be on the show every week. Watch, Mike, offer me a spot on the show every week.
no.
I was going to accept it if you did. You're a wise man.
But no, so I like Matt on the show every week. I think maybe we've gotten to the point where I have enough of a rotate. The reason Matt was on every week is because the first few weeks I was having Joe Jarchino
Yeah,
and fucking
you had problems filling the roster.
That was
not only that,
was-
not only filling it, but just getting people. Like sometimes there were shows where I would say something and people would be like, "Yeah," and I'd be like, "Okay,
All
well,
right.
All right, end of
And then
that
it turned
subject,
into Mike and the
So-
monologues after that.
which people didn't like either. But so I liked having Matt on every week. He doesn't necessarily need to be the guy now. It's just kind of become a thing. Although there have been a couple weeks lately where he hasn't necessarily been on. And John from Scranton's now a guy that I like having on more. You, Andy, are a guy that I like having on more. So yeah, there'll
Scrappy
be
John.
Menners was a guy I liked having on, but he refuses to ever do it again. I guess.
Menners is.
What a shame.
I DM'd Menners yesterday and told him, I was like, "You're everything I wish I could be." Because even some of the Menners will even tell.
411.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
a slumlord. A fucking.
Yes, it's all on my bucket list. But just even some of the jokes that Menners tells are things that I think to myself, but I hold back on because I couldn't say them on in public like this.
I like
Menners.
Menners.
Menners
is a
is
funny
great, man.
guy.
He just.
But what do you
lets
guys think of? I think he was a little rattled about more than a little. He was definitely rattled about the Medium Poppy, his business stuff,
Yeah.
which is something I get. Believe me, I even understand when MHB was doing that. You're not in this business we call show. You're not part of it. So I understand him panicking about that or not wanting people to. And listen, I still think if you're giving him shitty Yelp reviews, you're kind of an asshole.
Yeah,
Or
no,
not
there's
kind of.
no
You're
place
just an
for that.
asshole. So I don't like that. And I understand why Menners gets nervous. However, you can't be this guy on social media calling people out, fucking with Steve. I think Steve may have overreacted slightly because I don't think Menners was trying to fuck with his family, his wife, or anything like that.
I don't.
But you can't be saying shit about Steve's wife and saying he's a bore and he should be fired and all this. And then when someone gives the mildest, like, hey, why did you lay people off? I'm sure there's a perfectly good reason. Why not just fucking answer it instead of being sensitive about it? So you can't do that. You can't hang up on callers when you're that guy, when you're the tough guy.
Yeah, he definitely didn't handle it the best, but
No.
I actually agree with you 100% on that, Mike. And I even said it to him that he can't drag Steve's wife into stuff and then not expect his own personal stuff to get, talked about on the show. But I also told him I wasn't really in disagreement with him for the things that he had to maybe do with his business. It's a tough time. We don't really know what business owners are going through. So it's unfair to really label him like a piece of shit if it's something that he had to do to keep his business afloat.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with the shit Menner says about me even. I think he goes a little far when he says I'm destroying the KMS brand. I think that's a little much, but some of his criticisms I agree with. I think he should still come on this show. I don't think that should be a problem for him. But and I think the Menner's brand is a ridiculous thing to say. You're a fucking essentially a parody account. But I think he needs to lighten up with that stuff a little more, because if he just said, "Oh, fuck off," I laid people off so they could get unemployment. What are you talking about? Then there's no story. There's a story, quote unquote, when he hangs up on the guy and tries to get him off the line as fast as he can.
I guess I just didn't like when Kirk said, like, oh, if you're going to be the tough guy, you got to answer the tough questions.
I agree
But to me, it's like Menners is a tough guy within the world of KMS. And I felt like Kirk was saying in a way, if you're going to be that tough guy in the world of the show, then anything anyone can find out about you and bring up is fair game. And that concerned me. But to the guy Medium Poppy's defense, Medium Poppy didn't realize, he told me that he knew about the restaurant stuff. He said he didn't know that had come up as a result of when Menners got doxxed. He thought it was just something that Menners had put out there. So he wasn't trying to bring up something that he thought was like a personal thing that Menners didn't want out there. He thought it was fair game.
Well,
I don't know.
that's what I
makes
would
me
say.
nervous to think people are going to start digging up. Like, what if somebody had a really messy divorce 10 years ago? Are they going to start? People going to start looking up,
that's
each
what I
other's
would
court
say.
records and things like that?
You shouldn't find any information that just wouldn't be out there, especially about people's family.
But
if it's out there, like we've now talked about his restaurant on the air, so
because he got doxxed, right? It's not like Menners brought it up.
Because of his other podcasts, if you went and searched Menners on Google, you may have found him through his other podcasts.
But also, I mean,
what
to
I've
be
seen
fair,
thrown around.
Okay.
To be fair to Medium Poppy, which is a sentence I never thought I would say, Menners said, I think on this show, I forget, but he goes, I don't care if you talk about my restaurant. I forget exactly what it was. Oh, he said something about was it his other podcast? He said, I don't care about the shit with my restaurant. I care about something else. I forget what it was. But he brought up the restaurant and said, I don't really care about that. If I'm wrong, Menners, correct me. I'm sorry. I apologize for getting that wrong. But I thought he said, I don't care about people talking about my restaurant, which in my mind made it fair game.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess in the specific case of Menners, I can see it being okay. But just the concept of like, if you're going to be a tough guy in the KMS world, anything's on the table, that worries me. I just worry overzealous people are going to start. You know what? I think digging into each other's personal lives.
I think maybe, I don't know if Kirk means this, but what I take that to mean is like with MHB, there's not that MHB deserves to be doxxed, but if he's going to go dig up shit on Ben Albright or whoever, then some asshole is going to do the same to MHB.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Medium Poppy's an asshole. I don't know where he got his information, but I think what Kirk means by that maybe is that if Menners is going to do that shit to Steve, then maybe some asshole will do that shit to Menners. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to be that guy, then be prepared for some other asshole to hit you even harder than you're hitting Steve.
Yeah, I guess so. But then I just worry that like if I were to come on and say, Mike, I think you should be fired from the show because you suck. I don't think that, but say I said that.
Sure.
Somebody then could say, well, let's figure out where Mayo works and start emailing his boss.
No,
we think he sucks at his job.
No one should.
But they might, right?
But someone might.
See, and that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. But I guess you're right. That probably is the reality.
People are fucking assholes.
Yeah.
But that's what might happen. And what I would say to
Matt
you, Andy, is if that's a really...
That's how you know I'm a good guy.
Exactly. That's why.
Yeah, right.
All I need is the last four of his social, and I could open up a few credit cards.
But then what I would say to you guys,
I don't credit. You'll get a good line.
And I don't mean this in a shitty way, Andy, but what I would say is if that's a genuine concern, you shouldn't do this show anymore. And I mean, or your other show, you know what I mean?
I've thought about that. Thought about that. That's why I've deleted my Twitter history. Because like when Reamer got popped, everyone was like, well, Reamer, why did you have that from 6 years ago? And that's when I was like, you know what? I don't even know if I have anything that bad. I'm going to just delete it up until this point and then be a little more cognizant of what I'm saying on there.
Right.
So that's why, I try to keep it like, if anybody, I'm trying to keep it silly and not like, that's why you'll notice I don't use the C word, despite what intern Justin might randomly say for some reason on the show. Which it was so I guess he said he was joking. I never watched it.
Well, hey, who could forget that battle between the two of you?
But I guess that is the reality of it. Yeah, and everybody should be prepared for it, even though that's shitty.
My last question for you, Mayo, before we go to the youngsters in the second half.
They're all like 30?
I'm sure. Yeah,
they're older than I know. I thought they all.
I think of them as kids. 21. They're probably all older than me. Yeah. What was there a nickel's worth of free advice this week?
No.
Okay, then I'm not. So then I ask this. I thought what that show was, as much as it got mocked, was the first show where you're talking about like podcasting.
Look at Matt. Look at that smug smile on Matt.
Because I saw this talked about, and I wasn't going to say anything.
No, that's fine. No, I don't mind.
What the hell happened? Where now it's just it's essentially this show.
So the premise was supposed to be helping Minifans do Minifan things. I would still like to do that. I came up with an initial list. I think I had like 8 to 10 ideas for Minifans that could come on and do that stuff. What I ran into, like we tried to do with John from Scranton, we ran into some tech issues. So I'm finding that stuff, A, is tough to like make snappy and interesting. B, takes a lot more pre-production and post-production, I think. So it was just hard to do those things. So it's not that I don't want to do them, but I also don't want, I'd like to do the show a little more frequently. So I tried to take the advice theme of the show, and that's why we came up with stupid things like Nickel Head of the Week, where you're giving advice to another Minifan, but it's really an excuse to just get into issues, or Nickel Rubber of the Week, someone who took 2 nickels and rubbed them together to make it. So I tried to stick with that theme, but yeah, the concept that I came up with and said the show would be about is proven to be a little difficult to put together. Yeah, so we would probably if I were to do just that, you'd probably get one maybe once a month.
Okay, I got you.
If anybody has ideas for it or wants to come on and do something, like one idea I had is I'd like John Featherston to come on and teach us how to like troll respectfully, and I was thinking we could take the Pistol Pete message to Kelly Martin. Matt, you can address this and give it to John and say, John, how would you clean this up? How would you get this message across without getting banned from the KMS world for it? So stuff like that. If anybody
if you
has
didn't
ideas,
like the microphone episode, next week Andy's going to teach you good manners. That should be fun.
Audio visual Andy.
so maybe it's just a bad idea. Then.
No, it's not. No, I like the idea. I think it's just going to be tough coming up with stuff like that. I understand.
Yeah, and
you know what I would say to you?
interesting.
What I would say to you is maybe you don't need it doesn't need to be Minifan centric. Maybe you can use Minifans to teach people how to do certain things, and maybe then at the end do your thing where you talk about the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess part of me too, like I love talking about the show.
Right.
So I want it, it is fun to do that.
Sure.
And I've been struggling with, like the non-KMS related shows on the YouTube show have struck me as odd. And I know Kirk said he wanted it to be a playground and that any topic is
I like Quantum Week. I think that's my favorite.
Actually, yeah, I do like Quantum Week. That's
I
true.
think they do a good
that
job.
one's really good.
You know who I like is I like Chris and I had a rocky start, but I like him a lot now. He said when I tweeted something after the McDonald's challenge. I said Mike Geary's entire life built up to this, and he died 30 seconds later. And Chris replied, he died as he lived, doing something fascinating but ultimately meaningless, which I found very funny and accurate.
Yeah, those are good guys. That's a good show.
Yeah, I like those guys.
But like the conspiracy theory one, no offense to those guys, I just don't get it. And I was so surprised this week when Kirk was like, if Barstool were to tell us not to have that show up there because they endorsed the Pizzagate shooting or whatever that is. And Kirk was like, then I guess we'd have to talk about doing this somewhere else. Like my jaw hit the floor. I was like, really? That line in the sand is going to get drawn to save this
YouTube
random
channel?
show that actually doesn't have anything to do with the show?
I think it's I think there's a lot of things that are coming up that being said, shouldn't be said, and that are very strange. That would be my thought on that. But that's just, a general world thought. That's just old Mike shooting the breeze about this great country of ours. Nothing. Don't take anything too specifically about what I say here.
Oh, I'll be digging into that.
Yeah, I don't mean anything about anything.
Okay.
I don't know. Any other thoughts, boys, before we get out of here?
Where do you work, Mike?
I don't have a job. I just kind of hang out and shoot the shit with my pals every morning. Anything else?
Matt looks like he's got something.
No, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
He's got that smirk for me.
I got to go eat dinner.
All right, boys. Matt, I hope your head's doing all right. I hope you're okay.
I'm good. Corona free.
All right, boys.
Yeah, stay that way.
Stay safe out there. All right, gang? Hey, Andy, you know what? You're going to be on every week, my friend. Now go fuck yourselves.
All right.
I don't know what was happening there. Was I getting Justin, bring the new fellas in. The kids. Was I being punked at the end? They weren't speaking for some reason. I don't know what the hell was going on.
Well, you said goodbye, so I kicked them out, and I was bringing the other people in, and then he said, "Oh, Andy, one more thing," so I brought him back in for a second.
I gotcha. Thank you, Justin.
How are you, Mike?
All right, fellas. So we've got now Elvin, the great Elvin.
Hello, Michael.
Who hopefully doesn't get this show erased from history. Barstool Advisor making his debut.
How are you?
And John from Scranton. Before we go any further, I've referred to you guys as the kids. Is that how old are you?
Well, I'm 29.
Okay, so you're older than me. All right.
Yeah.
You're about the same, John?
Phil, yeah, but Phil is like 14, so our average age is like...
Okay, good.
That brings us down a lot. So
that makes sense. Yeah, that's funny. I think of you guys as just a young up-and-comers. You're both a year older than me. John, I like what both of you guys are doing with the show. I must say, John, I think, is my favorite. I even had an idea of a show I could do with John that can no longer possibly happen now. So that's unfortunate. I'll tell you about that after.
yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
Slide in the DMs.
Yes, but I think you guys are doing a very good job with that Mincel Intel show.
Thank you
very much.
In fact, people, some scoundrels would say you're doing a better job than me on this program, which I don't care for that.
Maybe that's
I heard some whispers in the wind this week that we should get the premiere Saturday spot.
Yeah, I don't know if I go for that. Maybe it could be my lead-in, but
it could be a conspiracy. Right. It could be a big conspiracy.
You know what, BA, you are better than me. That was an excellent segue to my guy.
Well, before we go there, Mike, it's difficult to hear some conspiracy neophytes talk about Disney and talking about the dick pictures on Little Mermaid. That's just small stuff. That's really tiny stuff.
Oh, there's a big Disney conspiracy.
Well, I mean, Epstein actually owns an island affiliated with Disney, and tours were offered there to do snorkeling for children. That's a fact.
Jeffrey Epstein, dead or alive?
I'm going to go with he's alive.
All right, I like that. We'll get into that kind of stuff.
He's captive.
We'll get into that stuff in a minute. But first, I want to get this out of the way because I know you were amped up and you were silenced on the Kirk Minahan show yesterday. You wanted to get your message out there. You were told no. So this is your chance, Elvin. What the fuck happened? Who's silencing you?
Oh, it's Steve. It's clearly Steve.
And what's his motivation?
I don't know if there is a motivation. I think he's just a pussy, and he's scared of Boston Globe, which is surprising to me. And that was the first thing he cited as a potential pitfall for releasing the video. I'd love to get your take. I mean, you were the one that sounded like, do we really care about the Boston Globe at this point? I mean, why?
Yeah, I kind of defended you. So I know, I'll tell you, I understand Steve's instinct there to say, because he didn't scrub it. This is different than that. What Steve did is take it down. It was at night, so maybe Kirk was asleep or wouldn't have responded or whatever. So I get Steve's instinct to say, let me take this down for now. Where Steve made a mistake is that he didn't listen to it first. So that could have saved him, where he could have asked beforehand, hey, is this all right? And maybe Kirk would have said yes. Maybe he would have said no. But it would have saved all that. The fact that it went up and had to get that always makes shit look more mysterious that it has to be taken down. But yeah, my thing is, and maybe this is what gets me in trouble now, but I look at, and I've never been, Kirk points this out all the time, and he's 100% right. I've never been in Kirk's position or any role like that. So I don't know what I would do if it was the Mike Geary show and it actually made money. I don't have any idea what that feels like.
Well, you'd expect your producer to listen to the audio, right?
Well, maybe. But what I'm saying is, from my seat, it's easy to say, I don't give a fuck if the Boston Globe writes about you. That's good. Then we can call them assholes for 2 weeks and say they're taking us out of context. And I would also say anyone that reads the Boston Globe is not going to be persuaded one way or the other on Kirk Minahan or the company he works for or anything like that. I think you read that and you either say, oh, here's the Globe twisting stories again, or here's that asshole Kirk Minahan doing something that pushes the line too far.
I can get that, but you need to explain to me that he played the audio twice on the show, right? The first clip included the laughter at the end, kind of the joking nature of it, which you picked up on. I'll give you credit.
I did. I will say it wasn't as joking. You guys weren't joking about what you were saying. There was a joking nature to it. It was kind of said lighthearted, but you believe that, right?
Believe what? Because it's completely
the Pizzagate shooting was justified, or whatever you said.
Well, I mean, we got to take a step back. There wasn't really. He described it as a mass murder. There was no murder. There was no violence. There was one shot taken. That shot hit the hard drive of the restaurant owner's computer, which is highly suspicious, and that's factual. You can find that anywhere.
Sure, yeah.
There's no mass murder to it. So that needs to be really understood before you start throwing out commentary around mass murder.
But you also have to understand that which I don't think this would happen really, but if the Globe did pick up on that, the headline would not be a comment on an issue with some gray areas on the Kirk Minahan Show YouTube. It would be Kirk Minahan endorses this opinion. So that's Steve's thinking.
Sure, but I mean, I'd give you the green light. The shit, shit rolls down right hill. I mean, I'm totally fine taking that bullet. I've led with my name. You can probably find me pretty easily. I'm sure there's not many Elvins in the area, so I'm making wild comments and speculation. I'm willing to lose my job. That's where I stand.
Right? Maybe there should just be a bumper in front of it that says we don't endorse what these guys say or something. You boys, as gentlemen on the YouTube page. Where do you stand? Should that have been let go? Should you get what Steve was doing? What do you think?
You want to take this, John, or
you go ahead, B.
You want to hear me? All right.
I'd love to hear your opinion.
Do you like to hear mine? Well, I love to shit on Steve. I think it was a bad judgment call by Steve. He should have. I think he kept it on. It was probably pretty harmless. I don't think much would have happened to it. Like, how many views are they going to get? They're not getting Mincel Intel number of views from Russia.
Well, who is these
for, right? So it's like I think it was like an overreaction. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I kind of, as far as taking the whole show down, at least they put him up. I kind of am in the belief that if Kirk gave us this platform to put a show up. We get a chance. If no one likes it, we take it down. But if Steve found something that he thought, the Boston Globe was going to come after Kirk, which I think the headline you said would be exactly what it was. I see that maybe going back to Elvin first, telling him about it. Say things to fix, but I mean, I know the video went up when it did, and people watch. I mean, the video has 1.3 thousand.
Yeah, it's not bad.
1,000 upvotes, 26. I mean, that's engagement this channel needs.
And that's after getting taken down. Like I couldn't find it.
That's
the next day. So that's after it got taken down. So that's
well, what I would compare it to.
Hold on one second. Yeah, Justin, if there's something you can do to raise John up a little bit, he's a little low. I don't know if that can be done.
Maybe you need to put a quote to your face.
I got
sorry, go ahead.
So I think you can compare it to like Kirk will say like, oh, what's Barstool's problem about like the Albright stuff or something like that? Like, oh, people are going to write these hit pieces. People are going to write that. Who cares? They're going to write them anyway. So it could be kind of you could have some similarities there to what happened with Elvin,
Yeah, I think it all comes down to what Kirk wants. And I don't know what the directive is to Steve. If Kirk says, hey, I'd just rather not deal with this stuff. So anything you find slightly like the Globe could take it and use it, just be more cautious than not. Then I think Steve was in the right to take it down. Yeah. I think the problem is that it went up at all. Like it shouldn't have gone up first and then taken down, I guess. Well, and Elvin's got the one show that you should be doing that with.
Yeah, you should. You should be double checking that show
with those 3 firecrackers on there. Anything can be said.
The thing is, I like the show. It was good. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't know if people could hear me right now, but I'm not a big conspiracy
you sound
guy.
Like better, yeah.
Okay, I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I watched the show. I found it interesting, and like I said, the viewers are there, the engagement's there. There's no reason to take it down.
Yeah, I had no clue what QAnon was or whatever that was before. Maybe because I'm Canadian, but it's like I had no clue. But it was really interesting.
I've heard of it, but Elvin actually taught me what I didn't really know what it was. But it is. I think it is important because when I think of this YouTube channel, I think, what if John and BA are all right with it? Then I'm all right. Like I don't really give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what Kirk thinks. I think one of my guys on the Mincel Intel
show. You mentioned in the first half, right? There's a lot of fan service shows going on, or fan reaction shows,
right?
And I think it's important to break out from that. I mean, I think you probably have a subset of folks that would be interested in hearing more about QAnon and other theories. And there's actually just a growing population in the QAnon world that will be drawn to your guys' channel as well, that we hope to bring in. So,
I honestly like that idea. And there's my main problem with the YouTube channel, and I'm the first to blame for it because I had the first show and this was the topic I chose to talk about. But my problem with the YouTube channel is, and that's why I would like more. Ideally, every show would be on YouTube for me because I'm talking about the actual podcast. Like the show would be up on YouTube because if you look at, fucking Two Bears, One Cave gets 600,000 views an episode. Joe Rogan, which I understand is the biggest podcast in the world, that gets millions of views an episode. Fucking Artie Lang's podcast he's doing gets 20, 30,000.
Like Segura's podcast with his wife.
It's 150,000.
Yeah, they do insane numbers. It's
insane. Burr puts up just audio and it gets 20, 30,000 views a week.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kirk Minahan show is a top 100 right now. I think it's like 65th in the world. So it's a top 100 podcast. And I think there's an audience on YouTube that doesn't necessarily listen to podcasts every day.
No, because you guys do daily, I think a good idea, and I mean, this is coming from me, so it means nothing, but a good idea would be, you guys do the visual for every show. You guys have the cameras working. Right. Maybe if you were to do the episode from the day before, release it that day.
Yes.
I think that would be cool.
That's what I wanted to do. The problem is the company that those guys work for.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want that.
What company is that?
I don't know. It's in your name.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want. It's just not the way they do things for whatever reason. My logic would be it wouldn't take away from downloads. You would just add the number of downloads you get plus the number of views on YouTube you get. But that's just not the way they like it done, I guess. So it just isn't how we do it.
Yeah,
that's what I think would drive the most people to do it to YouTube. So I think secondary to that is having things on YouTube that that people would be interested in. Like no one's going to look and say, "Oh, what's this Kirk Minahan show?" Oh, it's a guy with a picture of Ray Charles behind him talking about some show I've never heard of. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense if you've never seen or heard of the show before.
Yeah, only Zonker would do that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, so one guy.
One guy
would be on this YouTube channel. But yeah, so so in that case, I think Elvin is right that there should be more stuff where it's like it's other thing. It would bring people from outside into and say, "Oh, what's the Kirk Minahan show?"
Yeah,
Totally agree.
yeah. I think stuff like that. Oh, go ahead, Alvin.
Yeah, I was going to say the problem with doing a conspiracy show is this stuff is happening in real time. So the other conspiracy I have, if you remember, here I'm a big quote guy. So Kirk mentioned that I have the key to the car as it relates to this show a couple weeks ago on your podcast, Mike. Now, there's a 10 Days of Darkness thing going on. I don't know if there's any QAnon fans in here right now, but 10 Days of Darkness is right now, supposedly, and we're being throttled on the content we can produce. We had episode 2 ready immediately after episode 1 and got pushback from Steve. So it's creating some stale content, and we're ready to go. We want to run with this stuff, but we're getting pushback. So I'd love to get.
Let me throw this at you, Elvin. Yeah. Do you think, as a conspiracy guy, you kind of need that? Now the man is working against you.
Yeah.
That kind of works for you, no?
There could be a bigger conspiracy here that Steve's behind some larger conspiracy to silence you.
Exactly.
It's true. But I'm a truth seeker, and I need action to be made.
Yeah, me too. And Steve the liar,
now,
right?
So how are you recording your episodes right now? So, like, we record once a week, obviously. Now, you said you recorded your episode and then immediately recorded your next episode for next week? Or, okay, just because of what arose in the world?
Yeah, so we recorded episode 1, and then I think following day we did episode 2. We were just using Zoom. It's some janky shit. I understand that.
Yeah, me and you talked about that. Yeah.
I heard China. I heard there's a conspiracy. China gets the information from Zoom. Phil.
Be careful.
Phil told me about it.
But so basically, I think right now you kind of everyone really has their own day where it gets premiered. But I mean, if yours is kind of what's popping when it's going off, I mean, maybe work on, if you have an episode that you do the next day, work with Steve. And I know Steve's kind of giving you some pullback here, but work with Steve to get it up as fast as you can, rather than just having a set day.
To be fair to Steve, Steve's got a lot of shit to do.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
For that stuff. So I would say even work with Justin or Will, whoever helps you out with that. And Justin's very good about that stuff. And one thing, because I know Justin can hear me right now, one thing I would say we're almost too concerned about, because you're saying, Elvin, that they might push it back to next week because you have to be on the same time every week. Right. We almost get too concerned with things being on this day. This show is on Mondays at 8. I think on YouTube that doesn't really matter, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
Can have whatever time slot they want. If they want the Saturday, whatever, 8 p.m. prime time, we're fine with that. We're okay with you guys dropping our content on a 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. It doesn't matter. It's going to get the views over time. We don't care. So feel free to drop it. That's a message to Steve and the staff there. We don't care about a time slot or a day. We just want to give you content and post that.
I agree, because the show you're doing, it doesn't really need to be in a specific time slot, right? It could go on whenever you want.
Yeah, and it's like it's on demand viewing anyways, so it's not like it's keeping up with the show or anything. You guys, it seems like your two co-hosts really don't even watch Kirk's show, which I think a lot of people think that was stupid, but I think that's good because that keeps you away from the Kirk talk. And when you do it, it's kind of like you just kind of making a Minifan out of these people, but it does keep the Kirk talk away. So it focuses solely on your true purpose of the show you started. So I think that's good.
Yeah, and then with this show, so this show's live, so there's a reason for it to be on Saturdays at 7, because that's kind of the whole idea behind it, is that people watch live, like it's weekend content. But yeah, like Elvin's show, I think if he wants to do topical episode, like if he wants his second episode to drop on Thursday, I don't think that should really be a problem. I guess maybe it's a problem if the entire YouTube channel is now 4,000 videos of Elvin and 6 other videos. Then that becomes a problem, I guess. But other than that,
yeah.
Well, so it could be audio only. It doesn't need to be YouTube. I'm willing to talk about it. Like, we're just having conversation. That's the name of the game for us. We want to talk about news, that we are passionate about in a conversational way. If you're into that sort of thing, you don't need to see my ugly face or the other guy's ugly faces. We can do audio only.
I like that. I do want to get into some conspiracy theories with you, but first I'll ask the other two gentlemen: is there anything we didn't get to here or on the first half that you guys want to get to? I know you had Donker on this week. Go ahead, Bia. I'm afraid to even say your name.
It's about Phil. Phil from the Discord. I heard there's like he's being silenced because of some prejudice.
Yeah.
Listen, I heard.
His
kill death ratio is too low in Call of Duty, so that's why he's being silenced to not come on. So that's I want to just go from there. You know what's.
I'll just say this. I'll say this. That cocksucker Phil knows exactly what he did. He knows what he did. He knows what he did, and that's between me and him.
He was simply born with a darker skin color, and Steve doesn't like that.
I don't know.
We can work out what whatever his issue is, but that's personal. It's between me and Phil. Right?
Yeah. And what I say is like anyone under a 1.00 kill death ratio shouldn't be on any show to begin with. So that's
certainly not.
All right,
certainly triggered. He's gonna be triggered.
He's gonna be pissed about that.
I'll get Phil. To be fair, guys, I forget about him a little bit. I watch that show. I just forget about him. I'm sorry, but I'd be happy to have Phil on.
There's a big movement right now in the Discord and everywhere. It's hashtag let Phil speak, and everyone blames it on me. And listen, I will do my part in letting Phil speak. When I was offered this role on today's show, I went right to Phil first and asked him if he wanted it first. He politely said no, I would never go on that piece of garbage show.
Whoa.
So I mean,
well, he said unprepared. He said unprepared show. He doesn't go on.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil.
But
really hurt.
Coming off that, only thing I do want to tap into a little bit is the Hammer episode. I loved it. I know Mayo and Matt had a little problem with it. I think it shows Kirk's true creative abilities. There's some questions I had about it. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it a little bit first, but. Questions I had prep for it. How many days prep did you guys have, or was it like Kirk just popped in there one day? Okay.
So Wednesday, Kirk got up and went to the bathroom, and he said, "Hold on a second, I gotta come back and tell you guys something." And he came back in and just goes, "So tomorrow, what I'm thinking is, here's what we do," and he kind of laid everything out. So it was less than 24 hours, pretty much, which was interesting. It would be. I mean, it would have been maybe more like overly produced and stuff like that. So from that angle, it might have been better if we did it like Friday. But I honestly think it was kind of amazing what Kirk and Steve pulled off in the
matter
day.
of time.
Yeah, like they did a great job with it, honestly. So that almost adds to the mystique, I guess.
Yeah, and I think
it almost makes it more impressive.
It gives you the option. You could just pop one of those on us at any time. I know it was a love-hate relationship with the fans, but you guys seemed like you had fun doing it, and there was a lot of involvement from Minifans, which is always good to increase engagement with Minifans too. I think, and you guys could pop that on us at any time, and it's just kind of like a sweet little dessert that you get at it any time.
Well, that's what I was excited when Kirk said, "Here's what we're gonna do, and we're not gonna break character." And I was very excited because I love that idea. Like if I was listening, I would be the guy. This is a show I would be a fan of, and I just think if I were listening, I'd be like, "Oh fuck yeah, this is what they're doing today! Holy shit!" Like I would be excited for that.
And it's not like I know much about Kirk back in the EI days, but like Sporty McKenzie is an example of this. Like Kirk could just make up a character and roll with it, and this was a perfect example of this. I mean, it was awesome. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Plus, I heard some great tunes in that. All right,
the box.
I heard the box. I know Will had control over the songs, and he was proud of his songs.
But I have to give your boy Will a bit of a scolding. I was told.
Oh, beautiful.
I was told beforehand that Steve reached out to Will because Will's a music guy, and Steve just said, "Hey, give me some like hit songs that would be funny to play or like good to play for this, and give me like a description, basically, so that Kirk could say, coming up, this band is so and so, blah blah blah, and here's this song."
He called it like a call sheet.
He was bragging about it. He was saying it's the perfect call sheet.
So what Will did instead is, here's this song by this artist. I don't really like this song. It's not one of my favorites. He just gave like his opinions.
That doesn't sound like Will at all. That doesn't sound like Will.
Yeah, making it all about himself. That never has happened before.
What
It's
do
rare.
you feel about the show? When you guys wrap up recording, what's usually the routine after the shows end?
What do you mean?
Do
In the
you guys
studio?
all pack up and leave, or does Kirk give any commentary, or like what happened?
I don't know. Do you guys talk
Yeah.
about the show after the show, Mike?
There's not a lot. No, we all. So what we do usually is the three of us get in a circle and we put our arms around each other
Yeah.
and we go, oh,
I
very
guess now,
exciting.
I guess can't do that because of Corona now. So I guess
Yeah,
that's
so it's been
the-
rough the last
I don't know if it was Justin or it was Will who told me they were in the studio once and they said, listen, Kirk walks in, he sits down, they start. It's the most intimidating thing I've ever seen in my life. And I could see that happening. So,
Yeah,
that just
you
shows how
get-
professional he is.
It's not once you do it every day. That's just kind of the habit. It's not like
Yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah,
It's not like a
Will wasn't there.
scary
Yeah.
environment or anything. But yeah, no, he pretty much
Here comes
comes in
Justin.
and leaves,
Up
and
there
then
you go.
everything else is
Yeah.
like over like we'll text throughout the day, pretty much.
So I thought the show, I thought it had its funny moments, but the way like I describe it, it was, it's not one that I would re-listen to. Like I re-listen to a lot of the shows, especially the old ones. I don't think it's one that I would have to re-listen to, but I thought it was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I mean, so the image that I love is some people from a company tweeted about it, that particular episode that day, and what I love is someone that follows them saying, what the hell? I'll give this Kirk Minahan show a try.
Yeah. I know.
It's like this is. I thought this guy gets in trouble all the. Didn't he call Aaron Andrews a bitch or something? I don't understand this.
What's funny is if
I
they
know
watch
for
it.
one. Go ahead, Bia.
Oh, sorry. It's funny if they listen to it the next day, like you guys didn't talk about it at all till like 3/4 of the way through your show.
Yeah.
So
Well, the original
I
plan
know
was to
for-
never address it again. Which would have been even
Yeah,
funnier.
for one,
Yeah.
Deke Zucker quote tweeted it. The KMS
That's
quote,
who I
and
was
it was
referring
just
to. He doesn't
Yeah,
work for
it
anyone. But I
was-
don't know if I can address him or not.
yeah. So he was just like, what he saw, like the quote was like Kirk saying "I love you" and you guys saying "I love you" back, and he just tweets like, "What the fuck is that? What's going on?"
Yeah, that
he's
was
actually he's pretty. He helped us out a lot with the Zonker thing, getting the Barstool World involved, and he's pretty funny when he's just the thing he does is he just says, "All right, let's check in on the KMS world,"
Yeah,
and he'll just
and it's
pull
always
some
something bizarre.
crazy shit. Yeah. So
Which
I
is
think
it's
he's
almost funnier than getting like actual good promotion, which you think
Yeah,
people would
I
get.
do.
But it's almost funnier that way, where it creates sort of this mystique, like, oh, those guys are zany. Who knows what those guys are going to
Yeah,
do? You know, like
yeah,
it's kind of cool that he does that.
Yeah.
So let's dive in here, Elvin. What do you
oh,
say?
beautiful.
Do it.
Let's go.
Let's start with I say we start with the easy ones, and then we work our way through these conspiracy theories. JFK, what do you think?
Oh
Is
man,
that, well, first let me say this. Are you a guy, and I think I asked you this on the phone, but my problem with conspiracy theorists sometimes is that everything, like nothing is the way it seems.
Yep.
Are you one of those where everything's a fucking conspiracy? Because it's like, well, sometimes things just happen.
Well, it's all connected. That's the thing. So
Oh, okay.
You got to look into George Bush's involvement, JFK's comment around breaking up the CIA, and then conveniently being shot down. So George Bush was the director of CIA at that point. And truthfully, I feel JFK had realized that there was a cabal. So bringing it to current day, JFK already understood that there was pedophilia going on, that there was adrenochrome being distributed. He started with the mafia, the low-level stuff, and continued to kind of move his way up the ranks and followed the money until he realized that, holy shit, this is way deeper, and the CIA is involved. I need to destroy the CIA, and they couldn't have that happen. And bullet, that's it.
So who actually? What was fucking Oswald's involvement in it?
Oswald.
I mean, probably just a fall guy. I mean, I don't. That's the real popular end of the JFK conspiracy is who actually killed him. I don't actually give a fuck about who killed him. I want to know why they killed him. Who benefited from that? That's where I get intrigued by the story. I'm sure.
But you don't wonder who is Lee Harvey Oswald and who the fuck is Jack Ruby? Why did Jack Ruby shoot him and die in prison without ever saying anything?
I mean, there's even conspiracies that he was shot by someone, in the car itself. So there's a lot on JFK, but it all comes back to the cabal and him understanding that there is a secret society that he was trying to take care of and in prison. He was probably one of the few honorable presidents. I mean, sure, he was a man whore. He was getting his dick wet. That's fine. He can do that.
Sure.
That's fine.
Nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
Totally fine with that. Totally fine
Yes,
with that.
but we can all agree.
We can all
Hear ye.
Yeah.
Check.
But he did have the best intentions for the nation, and that came back to bite him in the form of a bullet. So that's where we are.
All right. Before I continue down my list, do you guys have any theories you want to get into with them?
Well, I have like a show conspiracy theory, but I don't know. Joe,
I like that too. We can do show conspiracy theories.
Do it.
I think
you
it's
want me
funny to watch BA listen to President Kennedy, who he's not even from this country.
It was the mafia. It was the mafia. I'm a paisan.
Try to keep up with this conversation is amazing for me. But
No,
I'm not a conspiracy guy, so
No,
I don't.
I used to watch stuff a little bit. I watched Zeitgeist doback in the day. Elvin, does that make me a conspiracy guy?
You watch Zeitgeist? I'm sorry, I don't even know what you're referring to, honestly.
The like 9.
This is what I like about Elvin. He's always on edge. He always thinks someone's someone's pulling one over on him.
the fuck is Zeitgeist?
Get out of here. I don't even know what that is.
Anxious, man.
I don't know. There's that 3-part documentary, Religion, Banks, and then 9/11. I don't know. Okay, never mind then. But
All right, you
What's
did
your
good.
show conspiracy?
but okay, my show conspiracy. So Elvin, are you familiar with Rich_Mandarin?
I am.
Okay, are you familiar with MHB?
Yes.
Okay, so people are saying that Rich_Mandarin is a MHB plant, a burner account.
Wow.
Well, Rich Mandarin has been on this show.
Beautiful. I was hoping you said that.
He's
Right
prepared.
into your web I walked.
Yeah. So people are saying that MHB has hired someone to be the face of Rich Mandarin.
Well, he is rich, right? MHB.
He could.
Yeah.
He could
Yeah,
be
2.5
in the
bathrooms.
He could be in the second bedroom at MHB's place. So, but that's the conspiracy theory out there. I wanted to hear your thoughts, Elvin, or Mike, or John's.
Well, so here are my thoughts is that it doesn't hold water with me because Rich Mandarin is now more active than MHB. So it doesn't make any sense to me. Like MHB and I were supposed to do a podcast this week. He delayed it, and then I never heard from him again. So like MHB and Rich Mandarin is tweeting about the show every single day.
I hopped on that Zoom party they had yesterday, and Rich Mandarin was on there. I don't know if MHB got in touch with them quick enough.
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
Have you ever seen them in the same place?
No, I've not.
No.
That'll grant you. I've not.
Interesting. So that's my KMS conspiracy.
BA is a perfect conspiracy theorist because this is a lot. Now, Elvin comes with information, and I like that. But a lot of conspiracy theorists are just like, oh, well, what about this? And you're like, yeah, I don't know. And they're like, okay.
I'm just saying
That's what I thought.
I'm just saying what a lot of people are saying.
I think,
There's
I think-
whispers.
Yeah, people are giving MHB way too much credit on that one. I don't even.
Oh,
wouldn't make that
okay.
sort of thing.
You're not an MHB guy, Elvin.
No, I am. I mean, he's just not around. I mean, he's working like 52 hours a day, right? Like
He works. He works too. I think he should quit his job and focus more on Minifans stuff.
I
That's
think
what
there's
believe.
an echo. There's an echo on someone.
There's
That's
been an
what
echo
people
the entire time, and I don't really know what to do about it. And I don't
Okay.
know if it's coming
Yeah.
through. I don't know if it's coming through their end or just on our end. But
It's coming through my end too.
yeah, try to work on that, Justin. If there's nothing you can do, then what can you do? Yeah, now it's just gonna bother. I was ignoring it the entire time, and now it's just gonna bother me the rest
My
of the
bad.
show.
Maybe it's a conspiracy. I don't know. Okay, so what were we talking about?
So Elvin, here's the one that's gonna get me in trouble probably. If this is even still going out on YouTube, I'm sure it's already been yanked down. 9/11 conspiracy theory.
Oh, jeez.
Where do I begin?
I mean, first you have to ask if the planes actually even hit the building.
Okay.
Let's go.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's go.
Thermite. I know about thermite there too.
Yes, thermite
The
paint.
thermite that incinerated it. So, okay. I was hoping we stayed with Pizzagate because 9/11 is a show that I've
We'll get
been
into that.
really building up, and I don't want to take.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it. Maybe just give me some key points, and then you can save everything for your show.
I mean, inside job. Well, once the currency, and anytime a country goes away from the U.S. petrodollar, they essentially need to be taken down. So we just set up some fraudulent people. I don't know if those people were on the plane. It sounded way too convenient. Their training was limited to a tiny plane, yet they were able to fly directly into two planes, take it down. Have you ever seen the image of the? Did you ever see the image of the plane that got hit by a bird? Massive dent up front on the plane.
I don't think so. No.
So planes are not these they're not made of hard steel. There's no way a plane can take down a building. They're not. It's just not capable without the thermite, without the additional
controlled demolition
planted in the building.
So here would be my question. You said you don't know if the people were on the. What happened to all the fucking people then?
I mean, they're dead.
Where are the people? Are they just fake deaths, or?
I mean, that's where you have to start with the question. If you believe that there were people that the planes actually hit, that's fine. Then those people are dead if you feel that way. However, I have a hard time believing that they even hit. If you look at the images of the planes hitting, they're all the exact same image. You're telling me that random New York citizens are walking around that morning and all capturing the first plane hitting from the exact same angle? There's tens of thousands of people on the street. You can't.
Well, this is 2001, though.
This was 2001.
People didn't have iPhones on every corner.
Yeah, but you're in New York City. There's cameras.
Isn't there a total of 30 total first plane hitting footages, and half of them are from across the river?
I don't know how many do you think there should be.
Yeah, that was my whole thing the whole time, because I mean at that time there was barely camcorders that were portable, let alone
no one's pointing, and no one happens to be pointing their phone or camera at the World Trade Center at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, what about the one building that collapsed that didn't even get touched?
Tower 7, Alvin. Come on. What about that? What about
He is a Tower 7 guy.
I'm a Tower 7 guy.
That's rigged explosives at that point.
Wasn't that a controlled explosion? The Tower 7?
Some people are saying the whole thing.
Some people are saying all of it.
The whole thing is controlled. And the one building that did not have a plane hit it was actually where they were storing. It was a data warehouse for just a lot of financial kind of paper trail there, and that just happened to get blown up with no plane.
When it comes to 9/11, I was always for I think the planes hit the Twin Towers. The plane hitting the Pentagon one is where I don't believe it, because it doesn't look like a plane hit it. It was clearly a highly portable explosive that did it. That's the only one on I think 9/11 was all real, other than the Pentagon one. I think that was.
What happened there, Alvin?
What about the plane that just hit? Where was that? Pennsylvania or whatever.
Pennsylvania,
That
one I think was shot down. I'm guessing
I
it
think
wasn't
that was
really.
Shot down
there was not one piece of debris recovered.
Oh, really?
That's probably
Fuck, Alvin, you're pretty sharp on these things.
Here's where we get into problems. Is that I am not nearly smart enough to have this conversation with Elvin, so it's very easy for him to just throw fact at me. Go, oh, you don't say. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know.
Fuck.
And then I can have a conversation.
If you care, or any listeners care.
Here's the thing. Someday I'll have a conversation with Steve where he goes, "Oh, that Elvin's a fucking idiot. Here's why he's wrong," and I'll go, "Oh, really?" And then Monday I'll have a conversation with Elvin again. And it'll be like, no. Here's why Steve's an asshole.
That's why you brought the big.
Oh, very interesting.
That's why you brought the big brains of me and BA on.
Exactly. That's what I needed.
To match.
People possibly dumber than me. I could go,
yeah. But wasn't there also during 9/11 there was war games being done, and all the planes were all from all the jets or whatever were as far away from New York as possible or something like that. There was. Elvin, I don't know if you know that part.
There was some simulations that allegedly happened. Some of that stuff is unfounded. I only really like to talk about the stuff that I feel strong about the sources on, and that is not one of them.
You're an honorable conspiracy theorist.
Yes, he seems like it.
Well, if you watch the show, you have Zach. So and he's probably the most kind of skeptical of the.
Who is Zach? The guy on the top. Who is the guy? Zach's the guy on the top.
Zach was the guy on the top left, yes.
Okay, cool.
And then you have E, who's the other guy, and he's our complete lunatic. So if you want him on this show, he'll probably get you pulled off YouTube, and then you have him somewhere in the middle.
Oh, okay, cool.
Elvin, what's a conspiracy theory that everyone believes that you're not in? Not that everyone believes. Let me rephrase. A popular conspiracy theory that you're like, this is pretty much how we know it to be.
Maybe Newtown, maybe some of the ones that involve like the school shootings. I don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of weird stuff with that too. I know Kirk mentioned that stuff was ridiculous. He only believed in the JFK theory, which I thought was short-sighted, because you're essentially saying, yeah, I agree to the fact that the government can and will lie to me, but they'll only do it once. That's a little weird. But I hate to speculate on the child stuff. Like that stuff is obviously depressing.
And is that just because? And I'm not even shitting on you for this. Is that because you see like Alex Jones and guys like that get in trouble, so you're like, yeah, I better just stay away from it, or is it because you actually don't believe that it was?
Yeah, I mean, all of this has a degree of that, right? Like I'm talking to you guys here on a public forum, and I'm sure a lot of people listening probably think I'm crazy. If this got into the wrong hands, I'm sure I can get in trouble in my professional life or wherever. So it has nothing to do with Alex Jones. It's just a matter of my level of believing that story.
Well, what I like
now, you're a conspiracy guy. Are you like an aliens and like a ghost guy? Like, do you believe in ghosts and that kind of stuff too?
I don't believe in the supernatural. Not a big.
Okay. What about aliens?
Aliens, I'm totally. You can check out Operation Bluebeam, I believe it's called. Without having all my stuff in front of me, there are all sorts of next level technology. There's speculation that the Germans were assisted by retrieving technology from aliens because they were able to put together U-boats and planes that were next level in that time. So those are some things. And I also just believe the universe is unlimited, or
way too big,
to infinity. So there has to be something.
Yeah.
Well, here's one that I like, Elvin, is the one conspiracy. I believe this is a conspiracy theory because I know someone involved. The Vegas shooting. My mom was there, and she said that there's being there, I felt like there was no way this was one person. I thought they were coming from every angle. I just can't believe one person was responsible for that. And the weird way that there's one fucking picture of the Stephen Paddock. They use this one stock image. There's no information on the guy. It just doesn't seem like one guy could pull that off, and there just wasn't enough information about him. It just seemed very sketchy to me. I don't know a lot of the details. I couldn't argue you on why it's a conspiracy theory, but I felt like it is. What do you think?
You led me to something I was hoping would happen organically. So here we are. I'd love to have you on our show to talk about that specific topic where it ties in.
Sure. I'd have to talk to my mom more before, so I know more about that, like that angle of it. But yeah, I'd love to.
I think your mom has a great instinct. They say that he had access to like service elevators that employees would generally have access to, but they have no real footage of him carrying anything in and out. There was shooting that happened, 7-8 minutes of shooting that happened prior to that. And you're in a casino. If any of you have been in a casino, you know there's cameras on every corner. There's security and staff everywhere. Yeah. It's not going to allow him a chance to shoot down the hallway for multiple minutes before any sort of alarm is rang. So, but I'd love to have you on the show and talk about that, Mike. That'd be awesome.
Sure, yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's just one. It seems too strange that it would be one lone guy. But what would be the motivation in that one for some sort of a cover-up?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is policy driven, unfortunately. So there is anytime any of these events occur, there is the instant like gun control discussion. That could be one. Yeah. That's one way, and it's just odd that it disappeared so quickly. I know Tucker Carlson talked about it. He was like the last guy that was talking about it, and it vanished from him too. So I will do some due diligence before I put my foot in my mouth on this topic, because it's been a few years. But generally, I think it's gun control policy driven.
All right, yeah, I'd love to do that one, because that's one that really interests me, and I kind of believe it just because of what my mom said. But no, what I like about Elvin, and you guys tell me if you agree with this. What I respect about guys like Elvin is they get shit on a lot. Like, people will say, "Oh, this Elvin's a fucking nut. How dare he talk about 9/11 or anything else like that?" What I like about Elvin is he obviously believes this stuff, and he's trying to do something about it, even though people are going to call him fucking insane.
Well, it's one thing.
That's kind of what I respect about it.
It's one thing to be a conspiracy guy. It's another thing to be an educated conspiracy guy. That's why I like their show, because they're all educated. They're not just some guy sitting there smoking a bunch of weed and being like, "You think like JFK," like that kind of bullshit. But like,
we're all just spinning around on this big blue marble,
yeah, man. Like that kind of stuff.
Those are my kind of conspiracy.
Yeah, that's what me and BA would do.
The world's 4.2 billion years old, man.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go back to the Pizzagate because that's what kind of got me here.
So what would you like to say about that we haven't said yet?
I just wanted to say some of the facts around that. So James Alefantis, who is the owner of Pizzagate, the restaurant, Comet Ping Pong, where...
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
This is not endorsed by the Kirk Minahan Show. Continue.
Yes. Okay.
Disclaimer.
So he formerly dated the CEO of Media Matters, which is Media Matters for America, David Brock, who the primary funding came from George Soros. So that's interesting. Also, GQ named him the top 50 most powerful person in DC. He owns a pizza shop. Does anyone else find that really odd that you'd be a top 50 most powerful person in 2012 as a pizza shop owner?
No, I believe the guy in House of Cards, the guy that owned that barbecue place, was pretty high up, if I remember correctly as well.
Perfect example, Mike.
Thank you.
So, and
People say
kind
you're
of
not
the speculation around him, he has Rothschild blood. So he is the great grandson, kind of bastard child of Evelyn Achilles Rothschild.
Oh, he's a bastard.
What's that?
He's a bastard child?
He is a bastard. He's a Jon Snow.
Wow.
That explains it, huh?
That must fuck. Elvin's
Dirty
always
blood.
blowing my mind over here. Holy shit.
And if you go back to the kind of the Illuminati, the Cabal stuff, it's all wrong.
Hold on, Elvin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like that the guy said the fucking Twin Towers fell down with fake people in the planes, and B is like, "Oh, the kid didn't have a father." Huh? I don't believe that.
Well, I've been tuning in and out, so that's.
Sorry, Elvin. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. So, where was I? So, in terms of another thing that was discovered was they actually had a secure back entry to their website where you can buy pizza or pictures of pizza, I should say, at astronomical rates.
Right.
So that's a little odd. Like buying a picture of pizza for $10,000 is clearly code for something, whether you believe that's children or something else, whatever. I can have that argument with you, but that's a smoking gun that there's something happening there.
And isn't there something where this is where my ignorance will really shine through? But isn't there something where the logo of the pizza place is exactly the same as the logo of some like pedophilia ring or something like that? Am I anywhere close to something?
I think their logo was like the young boy lover logo,
Right.
or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
common like pedophilia.
Nambla or something, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. Holy fuck.
Yeah, which
That's
is
fucked up.
crazy. And then
I thought this was about the pizza money.
Yeah, I thought that's what we're talking about. I thought we were talking about pizza money.
No, it is. It's all tied in
okay,
together.
okay.
It's
I
all
thought so.
one.
I thought-
It's
I
one
was-
big thing.
I was messaging my boy Jackson to give me some dirt on it. But
Yeah, that's what this is. No, we're all on the same page.
is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, Steve owns a pizza shop.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Steve.
yeah.
Steve's behind the whole thing.
Now
Okay,
we
that's
know where the
perfect.
money went, Kirk.
buying pizza.
Is there anything else you want to get out there to promote your show?
Yeah, I just want you guys to check us out. I encourage everyone that does check us out, don't take us for our word. We're just talking in kind of a freestyle format, so feel free to fact check us and call us out. We're open to that, but give us a chance. I don't know if there's any Q people in your audience or in this chat right now, but if so, we look forward to serving up some content on a more frequent basis, hopefully.
We'll find out here at the what's going on in the chat. Justin, pop in for a second.
Elvin. Oh, actually, I have a question or a
for it,
nickel's
man.
worth of free. I have a nickel's worth of free advice for you, Elvin. When you I liked when the guy at the bottom explained the conspiracy theory a bit beforehand, because I had no idea what the backstory behind it was. So I think that's a good way to start off your episodes. Give kind of a backstory on the conspiracy theory, because you're probably getting a lot of people that have no idea what the conspiracy theory is about. Just
It's going
Nichols
to be
worth of
great.
free advice.
This is going to be great for my Alex Jones impression, by the way. Maybe I'll finally get to bring that back because I'll have some material.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff to come out.
Justin, anything going on in the chat that we should know about?
I've been in the chat the whole time, so.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
good.
I think you should have BA on the show weekly. I talked to Justin about this before. BA is the master of the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You should have him on the show weekly. Have him pop in every so often and just give you an update, because
I like that.
he's on the show right now. He's in the chat.
You know what?
He's on.
I have my own Windbreaker parody account in there. He's my boy.
Yeah, he has his own parody account.
So someone suggested I do that with Menners. That Menners monitor the chat, but be on the show the whole time. and I didn't love
think
that
you're
idea. I
better.
didn't love the idea of having someone in on the conversation, but also looking at the chat. So, BA, let me throw this at you. If I have you on where you're not on screen, and I don't know if you'd be able to work it out where you can tell Justin when you want to pop in.
I could just send him a message. I have his number.
Yeah,
We're text
maybe you could.
buddies.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So anytime you want to pop in, just pop in, and we'll have you on the on deck circle.
I think
and you can pop in whenever you want.
I think that would be hysterical. When we signed on to get set up here, I told Justin that. But I mean, then I saw BA in the comments while he's on the show. I'm like, this guy can't get enough.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so
That's
BA
a
can
good
monitor
idea.
the chat. All right, so BA, you tell me. Anything going on that I should know about?
Let's
Phil
see.
wants to let you
Sorry,
know that he
Justin.
doesn't hate you.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Phil
pretty
said he
nice.
doesn't hate you.
Phil, you and I will sort out our differences on that. This is not a time for me and Phil. Well, me and Phil go way back. This is a problem we have to sort out off there.
Oh,
This is
Blind
not
Mike.
for on there.
Blind Mike Sneakers has a lot of criticisms of the show, but he has a tough life. He gets
Of the show tonight, what's his beef?
He's a big Phil guy, but he also hates everything. He hates everything. So.
I actually,
Yeah,
if
he's a big hater.
if I can tear down the wall. I kind of like Phil. He seems like a nice enough guy.
I don't know.
I have no
think he's
issue.
a little suspicious.
Yeah, Justin's weary
I'm
about him. He
suspicious.
doesn't.
Oh, you're suspicious of him?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Justin still thinks he's the. Justin's still hot on this Viewgate.
You game? The second draft. I heard he's making the second draft. For Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm out of the picture now. I bought Justin a T-shirt that he's wearing right now, and I completely took myself out of the investigation. I bought my way
bought
out,
yourself out.
just like the views.
I only
many,
have one conspiracy.
Bribery, huh?
What's up, Justin?
I was just thinking if Elvin has any thoughts on the 2002 Western Conference Finals.
Oh, was that feels like a San Antonio year, no?
No, that was
That'd be
the
Lakers,
Sacramento Kings
That
versus
was-
the Lakers.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that was a great series.
That's a
That
good,
was a
good
great
conspiracy. Some conspiracy on that.
What's the conspiracy? So I thought Justin was just being an asshole, and then Elvin goes, "Ooh."
No, the 2002 was that the NBA rigged it so the Lakers would win because Sacramento's not enough. Big enough
Well,
in the
and
media
at
market.
Justin at that time, I could speak.
Tim
a little bit
Donaghy,
to
the
this
ref?
because a certain podcast that might be at a certain company that might work for had,
Barstool Sports.
the referee,
Barstool
the
Sports, I
referee
think it
that
is.
did all of those. Yeah, the referee that did all those games was on their podcast, and he was the one that was convicted of all the cheating.
Tim
and
Donaghy.
everything too.
Yeah, he
So,
was on
Tim
PMT,
Donaghy, yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
I've said, Elvin, tell me if you have thoughts on this. I've said for years, David Stern, rest in peace. His greatest accomplishment ever was that he managed to take. Basically, Tim Donaghy was yelling from a jail cell. The NBA is fixed. It's rigged. I went to jail for it. I'm not the only one. This game is fixed. And David Stern got to the point where no one questions it. You never hear that about the NBA. So I've said for years the NBA is fixed. What do you think, Elvin? Are you
the
with me?
NBA is fixed and it's trashed and it's been bad since Jordan left. And if we're going to go down like the Sporty McKenzie route, it's been terrible since that point on. About that series specifically, here's a fun fact. I'll go with Sporty McKenzie. Vlade Divac was actually traded for Kobe Bryant on draft day. So big return for Sacramento there.
I think anytime we can get a Vlade Divac reference in, it's a good show.
Yeah, I was a huge Kings fan at that time. That team on NBA Live or whatever it was, not 2K at that time. I think it was NBA Live. Was filthy. They were awesome. Bobby Jackson coming off the bench. Ooh.
Mike Bibby.
Mike Bibby.
That
Mike
team was
Bibby.
filthy.
I know my early
they were 8 or 9
2000s
deep.
Kings.
Oh yeah,
What'd you say,
I
Mike?
mean, they had the Twin Towers at the time too. Or no, the Twin Towers were on the Spurs at that time.
We already
that
discussed
was a great
that.
Western
That was
Conference.
very. It wasn't real. It was a self-contained explosion.
yeah.
Justin, have you learned your lesson from this fucking? You know, Menners, I don't know. Hey, gang, I don't know why we have to be mean in these. People are dying out there.
Well, what do you mean? Like, I won't drop. I don't. Anyone can come on now. Like,
No.
won't
I
listen
mean,
to
you
you.
specifically. I don't feel you're a guy that even thinks that way. Like, I was surprised you even said that.
Oh, I was just caught up in the moment because it was just like I just saw like a small business owner just like it was looking back on it, it sounds stupid. Like,
yeah, you panicked.
the whole rant I went on. It sounded like I'm a moron.
He was heated though. I mean, I talked
But
to
I
him.
know
was
I was
heated.
heated.
He was heated.
That was pure passion right there.
People
That
were
was,
heated for so
yeah.
long after that in the Discord and everything.
I mean,
was
it
a
went
wild
on.
night.
It went on in the Discord for 3 days.
It was
For 3 days
crazy.
after
It was
that.
crazy.
I love
Insane.
that. That's why I'm not in there because I love that you guys have these fucking wars that I only hear bits and pieces about.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't be. I should not be getting in the. No, no. Medium Poppy had every right.
Well,
Yeah.
Kirk
you
does.
don't even know.
Kirk does a little
I'm
bit.
amazed. I'm amazed that he does. Well, how often he goes in for? Like
He has a
AMAs.
great stretch. So what
but he
Kirk,
pops
what Kirk
in-
will
Oh,
do
sorry,
is,
go ahead.
yeah, he'll pop in and he'll just do drive-by discords. Like he'll just
Yeah.
pop
See,
in,
that's
say
the
two
way to
things, and
do
then
it.
run out.
Yeah, like
That's
he
the way-
was
if
in.
I was
beautiful.
going
I
to
love
do
it.
it, it would be that way where it's like I'll answer some questions, maybe I'll give my thoughts on some things, but I can't. If I did that, the problem is I'd be there for 6 hours.
This is
Yeah,
this is
he-
another thing I
like-
like about
oh,
Justin too. He just in the middle of that whole war, Justin. I tweeted this the other day. Justin will pop in and just tell people with just what's on his mind or what
Yeah.
he's doing at the time. Or
Like
he's
he's-
like, I can't get this damn blue coin in Mario right
Yeah.
now, or something
That's what
like
we
that.
need.
I
I
love
think-
Justin on there too.
I think the whole world needs to hear what's on Justin's mind more often. I've always said that.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking interesting mind, that's for sure. The
There's some shit going on in there. Let me
Yeah.
tell you that.
and Kirk too. Like Kirk was in there today while you guys were
The McDonald's thing, right? Yeah.
during the McDonald's thing. He was in there pretty much the whole time, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what you should do if someone could show you how to do it, you should just figure out the
voice
voice
chat, right?
chat because
Yeah.
all you have to do is click
voice chat's
click
fun.
on it, and have the headphones in, and you just talk. So it's
The next time I do like an AMA or something, I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll
pop
do it
in
that
there.
way. So that way
We'll
Justin
get
doesn't
you.
have to
We'll,
help me or anything.
we'll talk offline. We'll get you all set up.
We
in
do
there.
the
We'll work
floor
with
is
Patrick or
yours.
something.
Well, I like
Yeah,
that.
we
That's
do,
a good name.
We do
for
a
it.
bunch. Yeah.
Jane off,
Yeah.
Jane off with Inspector
Jane-
Jade.
yeah,
The
it's
floor
called-
is yours.
All right, boys.
It's the best. It's the best thing in the world.
I think this has been the best episode of Mike and Minifans in a long time. I've had a lot of fun today.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys coming
I
on.
think you did good.
Elvin, before we go, I don't want to be the one. I'm your guy. I don't want to be the one to silence you on anything. So, any final thoughts?
Final thought would be, Steve just stops fucking with us. I mean, it's really as easy as that. We will produce content. If
All
people
right.
like it and you get watches, just put it up, and that's it, and let us move on. That's probably how all of your fan contributors feel. So
All right, I like that. Boys, any other thoughts before we get out of here?
A lot of
A
people are
couple
saying.
last-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, BA, because I got a couple things.
Okay, a lot of people are saying the second half was a lot better than the first. That's just from the chat.
Is that what people are saying?
Not from me. Not from me.
I don't know what it was.
I think both halves were really good, honestly. Man, you know
yeah.
what? I think
Yeah,
the first
no, I
half
love
was better
Mayo.
for me because I got to. I was just having more fun finally talking about that shit without being a fucking downer about it. So yeah, the
Yeah.
second half was more loose and fun, I think.
Yeah.
John,
Last
what are
thing
your
for
what are your,
us,
what are your
Cartoon-
beefs?
Cartoons came out this week. Make sure everybody goes and watches it. It's the birth of Rich Mandarin. It was pretty good. Other than that, we got the bracket ending this week, and we are looking for people to do that Barstool video of the girls doing the thing. They tweeted it out today, so if anyone's interested, please DM me because I'm still looking for people, guys and girls. Kirk
Yeah, I don't
asked
know what
us
you're
to do
talking
this
about.
video, so it's kind of like it's a TikTok video, but Kirk saw it and he came and he wants it done, and anyone who could help me with it, all the better. I just need video, so I'm just looking for people right now. We're almost filled up, but I still need some people.
All right, contact John for that. John, let me ask you this because I don't know shit
up?
about TikTok, and me and Kirk.
Okay.
I mean, me and Kirk. Me and Steve were talking about this the other day. Do you think those Kirk tunes would be
Oh, they
something
would
that
be perfect
might
for
work on TikTok?
Yeah,
They
I
would.
could
They would really. The only problem with the cartoons is it takes us like 2 to 3 weeks to pump
Yeah.
them out because
Can I
he
give
does all the
a,
work himself?
Can I give a bit of advice?
Sure.
Yeah, a
The
nickel,
lead
if
up.
you will.
Actually, this one was a little better, but the lead up is not
Mm-hmm.
necessary. The whole
Yeah,
where it's
so-
15 seconds of produced by, and you know what I mean. Like that's not
Yeah,
necessary.
yeah.
And I'm not even shitting on you for it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's better to get to it quick.
So the way I looked at it was, it's kind of like a cartoon. It has an intro video, and
Yeah.
like I have to, we have to.
The only
give,
problem is on
Barstool-
Instagram, people just aren't sticking around. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. with
Exactly,
that. Yeah.
exactly.
And
so
maybe
I
you can
try
put
to
it
cut
at
up
the
the
end.
videos.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I try
yeah,
to cut
maybe
up the
put it at the end
videos
instead
for
of the beginning.
Nick. Exactly.
the
yeah, I
next
try to cut
one-
up the videos for Nick.
The next one's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be
Yeah,
the
next
dual
one's good.
story.
We got an idea for
Oh,
it.
you wanna say what it
Also,
is or
anyone
no?
who has
Sorry,
any-
I think I just said it. So.
Yeah, I'll give you just a preview. It's got to do with a duel.
A duel, yeah.
So
Oh, I mean,
we're not
okay,
going to tell you
perfect.
exactly
That's all-
what
that's
part of
beautiful.
it, but
Yeah,
Beautiful.
so that's pretty good. Also, Phil said that he loves TikTok or something like that. So
yeah. So I think cartoons would be good for you guys on TikTok because
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah.
All right,
oh,
boys.
yeah, okay.
No, what's up, BA?
No,
BA,
he's
by the
counter
way,
guy.
the newest addition to Mike and the Minifans. Go, the
Oh,
floor
yeah.
is yours, my friend.
Oh, floor is mine? Okay. Actually, Phil said, John, you're 29. You can't give TikTok recommendations. So that's.
Yeah, I
What
don't
is
know
my-
what a TikTok is.
That's how fucking
I
old.
s-
I'm 28. And yet I look at him, I'm like, hey, what are you kids doing on the TikTok? Explain that to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
dancing
yeah,
on the
I-
TikTok. So.
I know. See, here's how I look at TikTok. Like, there's a comedian that no one would know named Mike Feeney. Like, you guys wouldn't know who that. There's no reason you should know who that is. He has fewer followers than me on Twitter. So
Humble brag.
he got, well, not really. That's the point. So he threw up a video on TikTok. He's actually had a couple videos now that have gotten 1 million+ views. Just the way the algorithm works, it's gotten people that don't know who he is to see it. So my logic is nothing the show does works on TikTok. It's not the show that plays a music clip and does a funny dance to it or anything. It's just not this show. However, eventually TikTok will become Instagram, or it'll just die. Like
Yeah, it's going to be
Vine.
its own platform. It's
But
to the
eventually
point
it'll
where
just be
it's its own.
Instagram, where that's where people go for certain content. So I say, why not be on there first? Like the first
Yeah.
podcast that is just putting their clips on there, or Kirk Tunes, or whatever the fuck.
Well, TikTok too lets you like react. I guess you could put a clip of something like a weird TikTok and react to it. So that could be something too, like you're just chirping a TikTok or something like that.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. So, but that's about it. Or dancing if Kirk wants to dust off the dancing shoes. But I don't know about that.
All right, boys.
Also, we got Big Steve on our episode this week.
Oh,
so
Big Steve.
Steve's coming in.
Yeah, I'm
into
a
the
little
broadcast
offended by that, but whatever.
Well, you
I don't want to say anything, but he reached out to us.
He
to come
reached
on.
out
We
to
didn't
us.
reach out to him.
Oh, what a nerd.
Yeah, what a nerd. Eh?
Fucking-
I'm gonna fucking.
Can I come on, guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna grill him.
I hear this show has a lot of buzz.
Yeah. He's trying to get the Mincel Intel bump, I guess. But
Yeah, he wants that bump
well.
from us.
Make sure you guys stay pro Blind Mike. That's all I ask of you.
we're blind Mike
Always
guys.
do. We always do. We're blind
Thank
Mike
you,
day
boys.
ones.
So Justin said to me before the show, are we thinking 2 hours? And I said, I'm thinking more like an hour and a half unless the conversation is good. Sure enough, we got the 2 hours. So excellent job, boys.
Nice.
Alrighty.
Nice.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week and then talk to you on the show on Monday.
All right, too.
Peace.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we want to go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You wanna be with DC and our aim in a hand. The host can't see it's Mike and the Minifans. And nobody's seen real MHB. This whole thing is a sham. You never see him pee, it's Mike and the Minifans.